This computer. All right, welcome back to another episode of the On J podcast. I'm your co-host Jeremiah.
I'm your co-host Orlando.
I hope everyone's having a good day, good night. And Orlando, do the honors of introducing our special guest.
Today joining us, we have Kentucky alumni, 10 plus year professional basketball player, G League champion, Ramon Harris. Welcome to the show, man.
Appreciate you. What's going on, fellas?
All right, what's going on? Not chilling. Um, so you're from Alaska.
Yeah.
All right, so I've never been.
I've never been.
You never been. So like, I don't want to. So just kind of just paint a picture of like what it was like growing up there, just for people, because I don't really know too many people who have been there. So if you could just
Mhm.
paint a picture of like just you growing up there, your experiences, your neighborhood, and things of that nature.
Sheesh. Okay. All right. So, imagine growing up in Tampa
Okay.
with no sports teams,
Mm.
and you had all four seasons every year.
Mm.
So I grew up in the only city in Alaska, which is Anchorage.
Okay.
Um, that's the only city that's relative to what you may be used to,
Okay.
right? And man, it was like you either hooped or you was doing music or
Okay.
you was a nerd or you was in the streets. You know
Right.
what I'm
For sure.
saying? We like my family, my mom played ball, my dad played ball. Um, my dad went to a JUCO. My mom, she went D2.
Okay.
My stepdad did track. He did track in college for like a semester because the party life got to him. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Being in
I got
college.
you.
Um, so my family, like we real sports oriented, but I grew up in Alaska, man. To me, it was normal. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I traveled a lot. My mom from California, my pops from Virginia. I traveled a lot since I was a little kid. So
Right.
that's one thing that I was able to do that a lot of people from back home didn't do. You know what I mean? Like there's people that's never left the city limits of Tampa.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let alone you got Orlando, you got Gainesville, Jacksonville, down the street. I ain't have that. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? The closest city was Seattle, and that's like a 2.5 hour flight.
Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, Seattle,
Okay.
Washington.
Wow.
Because I don't. Because
Sounds
when I think of because Alaska on the U.S. map, it's not
They got
like
yeah, they
it's at the
got it
bottom.
down by Hawaii.
Right,
Yeah.
right, 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 right.
But
Okay,
nah, Alaska's really connected to Canada.
okay.
mm,
I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah, so
all right,
Alaska's connected to Canada
right,
right above the United States. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
that's what I had. So the biggest thing that I had was we had this tournament called the Great Alaska Shootout.
Yeah,
And when I was growing up in the 90s, it was the number one college basketball tournament in the nation,
right.
like Maui is. Um, so every Thanksgiving, you know what I'm saying? Me and my family was in there watching all the games, watching all the players.
Right.
And that's what I had to look up to. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So so watching that, did your did watching your parents like did you have any early memories of your parents of watching your parents hoop? You said you said dad went JUCO and mom
Hmm.
played D2. So like, are there any
Hmm.
memories there that may have like, along with you said the shootout, sparked your interest, but like did your parents, were you able to like watch them at all in terms of, did that like spark anything in you?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
So my dad went JUCO. After JUCO, he went to the military.
Okay.
And my mom went to D2 in Seattle, and she came back and transferred to the D2 in Alaska in Anchorage.
Okay.
And so my dad was stationed military in Anchorage. That's how he met my mom. So my mom
Mm,
was still playing when she met my dad. So my mom played college ball with me till she was 6 months pregnant.
Mm. Wow.
So it got to the point to where she was showing so much that her coach was like, I can't allow
Mm.
you to play. I don't feel right.
Wow.
So my mom played with me while she was pregnant.
That is that.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
Wow.
I didn't get a chance to watch my mom hoop, but
For sure.
everybody that knew my mom
Yeah.
told me how nice she was.
Mm. I bet.
They told me how nice she was. So like my mom is from Oakland. She went to Alaska her sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
Because in California she was fighting too much.
Right.
She was fighting too much, and my grandfather was stationed up there. So she went to Alaska her sophomore year of high school. And so when she played, we actually graduated from the same high school. So she played at a school called West High School on the west side of Anchorage. And I ended up graduating. I went there my sophomore year and played there. And everybody, like when I tell you a lot of people don't leave Alaska,
Mm-hmm.
my mom's coach was still coaching the girls when I got there.
Wow. Wow.
So his name is Coach Zach. Coach
Okay.
Zach used to tell me like, "Your mom didn't tell you how good she was." I'd be like, "Nah." And then like,
Yeah.
there's people that went to high school with my mom that was still there coaching
Wow.
or whatever the case may be, and they'd be like, "Man, your mama used to be nice." I'm like, "What?"
Wow.
They'd be like, "Man, your mom was nice." Da da da.
Yeah.
But so long story short, that's how it was on my mom's side. My dad, he was just super athletic.
Yeah.
My dad was super athletic. He went to JUCO. He played with Charles Oakley actually at JUCO.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I never had the opportunity to watch them,
Okay.
like my daughter watched me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For sure.
I never had the opportunity, but I've heard every time I'm like visiting family and we're out and about, whatever the case may be. Everybody's like, "Man, your mama was nice. Man, your dad was so nice. Like your dad was
Yeah.
super athletic." You know what I'm saying? So I just hear the stories, but I never grew up watching them. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's real.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from living in Alaska, I think a lot of people don't see Alaska as kind of like that city, like those Seattle, New Yorks that have a big
Yeah.
basketball culture in there. So how do
Hmm.
you describe that basketball culture? Like, did you have a good support system? Was it big over there?
Um, Man, that's a loaded question right there. Um, our
Break it down.
culture, our culture is heavy, right?
Okay.
Um, Growing up, so my mom played, my dad played, and with my mom playing, we was always around basketball, right? And a guy that she went to high school with named Gino, Coach Gino, rest in peace, Coach
Okay.
Gino. He coached a school called East High School after we got a coach, rest in peace, Coach White as well. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Um, there's a school in Alaska called East High School on the east side of Anchorage. Um, they were famously known for a coach by the name of Coach White. And he coached East High School when Trajan Langdon was there.
Okay.
So he coached Trajan Langdon before he went to Duke.
Gotcha.
And then he coached, like everybody knew who Coach White was. He was nationally known as a coach from Alaska, right? So then he stepped away for a little bit. I think he moved to like Seattle or Colorado or something like that. And Coach Gino was the person to replace him at East High School. And like I said, that was my mom's friend in high school. So I was always around. I was at their practices, I was at their camps.
Right.
I was even the water boy during the high school games because
Sure.
I was like, man, I'm going to East. I'm playing for Coach Gino. And you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's
Right.
how it was. So I was, excuse me, I was always around it. But then as I got older, Coach Gino decided to retire. He decided to retire. And so it was like, what I'm gonna do, X, Y, and Z. So the culture of basketball is heavy because our sports is what we have. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
whether it be football, whether it be basketball, like it's competitive. You know what I'm saying? Um, like my high school, so I went to a school called Bartlett my freshman year, and I played with Mario Chalmers that played for the Heat.
Wow. Okay.
Oh,
Me and him, we kind of grew up together, but he was a year older than me, and
Okay.
so me and him were the two youngest on varsity. His freshman year, he actually started for the high school and did big things as a freshman, right?
Wow.
So then I come in as a freshman, barely play, but everybody else is juniors or seniors.
Right.
And in that environment, like, they won the state championship. We won it my freshman year. And even in that, like, our games be sold out,
Right.
gyms be packed. And that's one thing about home is that our facilities are major
Mm.
because sports is what we have. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Um, like our gyms are like real gyms, like huge. You know what I'm saying? Sitting areas are huge. Um, so for us, like high school sports is it. It was it was everything. It was your bragging rights. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's all we really had because, like I said, it's not like we could go to USF versus Alabama,
Right.
or we can go to UCF versus Colorado with Dion and all them people there. Like we didn't have that. If it wasn't the Great
Yeah.
Alaska Shootout, it was high school sports.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So the culture is huge there, and we got a lot of people that actually came from Alaska, but um, just don't get the recognition. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But then on the other side of the coin of growing up in Alaska, um, we were a top five murder capital when I was coming up.
Mm.
We were number one in suicide.
Mm.
We were top five in like drug and alcohol abuse.
Right.
Um, you know what I'm saying? And then your gang violence was huge.
Right.
So that's what I grew up in. But I
Yeah.
didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know it was normal to me. Like somebody from no disrespect, but from somebody from Chicago would tell you how the streets of Chicago is, right?
Right.
And they're not gonna like in retrospect, you're not gonna compare Chicago to Alaska,
Yeah. I
but honestly, we were that bad. You know what I'm saying?
think it's important to for you to touch on this a little bit more, but like
Mm,
just for because I mean I'm from Miami. You know, a lot goes down
right,
in Miami. You know,
right.
I'm sure stuff. I've been I started school here. Been in Tampa for like maybe 5 6 years. I know stuff goes on. Stuff goes on everywhere. But like for
Mm,
you to say to bring up those statistics, what
yeah,
made you? And this may sound crazy, but like, what made you not a statistic? Even though like for the statistics to be that high, that means a lot of it's going on. So
right.
that can make it possible for you to easily be involved in that. But what kept you out of it, in your opinion?
If I'm gonna be honest, man, the man above, for
That's real.
sure. The man above definitely protected me. Um, you know, God definitely provided that path for me and that protection. One.
Sure.
Two, um, believe it or not, the strength of my mom.
Mm, talk about it.
Um, like I said, my mom was there. She went to high school there. All the all the people in the streets knew my mom
Mm,
because
got you.
they either played in high school or they were around people that played. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
everybody around each other. We're in a small city of 250, 350,000 people.
Right.
Everybody knows everybody. And then my mom was a hooper, so my mom knew everybody.
Right.
Um, you know what I'm saying? So it just like everybody knew everybody. So
For sure.
when I was coming up, they'd be like, "Oh, you Carmen's son? Hey, then go
Mm,
sit down. Hey,
mm,
you know your mama." You know what I'm saying? So that's what I grew up in. Like everybody knew my mom,
right.
and they knew my mama don't play, and they knew, man. Because I remember one time there's this area called Fairview. Fairview Rec Center is where we used to hoop at. Fairview is known as the hood, right?
Mm,
But the rec center is known. The rec center is known that is an off limits location,
Okay.
right? So that's a safe haven. Like don't nothing go down at the rec center. Everybody know that, right? I was at the rec center. I was hooping, and something was going on outside,
Mm.
right? So everybody, oh Bill, they fighting upstairs, da da da. So everybody take off runs.
Yeah.
Man, I remember a couple dudes. Hey, where you going? I mean, man,
Mm.
they be like, no, no, nope. Cause something happened to you, your mama gonna kill me. Nope. Go back
Yep.
downstairs.
Yep.
That's how it was. So I couldn't
Yep.
really do nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I couldn't really do nothing because everybody knew my mama, and everybody knew
Yeah.
you
Already.
you better do what I tell you because I'm gonna tell your mama, and you know your mama finna get on. You know what I'm saying?
Already.
So that's what
Yeah.
I grew up in, and so even in the environment that I grew up in, everybody knew my mama.
That's real. Okay.
So I couldn't even, I couldn't I couldn't even do some of the stuff that the other kids was doing
Right.
because everybody knew my mama and they knew that my mama don't play, and I was gonna get my tail toe up
Right.
if they call her and tell her, or if they see her and tell her, hey man, your son was what? You know what I'm saying? That's
Mm.
how it was.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what I grew up in, and then as well is like um, I always wanted to hoop,
Mm.
even as a little kid. Like I always wanted to hoop.
Yeah.
So going back to the Great Alaska Shootout, I seen people like Stephon Marbury when he was at Georgia Tech, Vince Carter when he was at North Carolina. I seen Dwayne Wade when he was at Marquette. I seen Kenyon Martin when he was at Cincinnati. I seen Trajan Langdon when he was at Duke.
Mm.
Um, the list goes on and on because we
I'm
was getting all the
curious.
top schools.
Right. I'm curious though. So like as a kid, like watching them, those elite athletes, like does
Mm-hmm.
it and you actually like and we Orlando named out all your accolades. So you actually like did the stuff that kids, dream of. So it's like as you watching them as a kid, does it make you like does it seem touchable? Like does it seem reachable like watching them? Or like what was your experience like watching them, watching those elite
Um,
athletes play? Or were you just a spectator? Like,
to be honest with you, it felt reachable, but it didn't.
okay.
Right. And the reason why I say that is this. Watching them play, I didn't know who they were. I didn't know
Mm,
Stephon Marbury was Stephon Marbury. You
right.
see what I'm saying? I
For
didn't
sure.
know that he was like the number one point guard coming out of high school because when I was that young, I didn't know about rankings and all that. I'm in like third, fourth, fifth grade. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I just know that I seen them on TV and they playing here in person, right?
Right.
Um, so I didn't know like, Vince Carter was going to be Vince Carter. I just know North Carolina was playing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And so on and so forth. Like I walked up to D Wade with the pamphlet, right? You get the pamphlet of all the schools in the shootout, the team
Yeah,
photos, the roster, da da da. I
for
walked
sure.
up to D Wade to get his autograph, and I had the wrong school, the wrong page to the school. And I remember D Wade like kind of looked at his teammate, kind of laughed, and he went to the right team and he signed it. But I
That's
didn't know
real.
D Wade was D Wade. I didn't know he was about to be a top five draft pick. You know what I'm saying? I didn't
Sure.
know that. In my
Yeah.
mind, I just knew I see you go to a big school
Yeah.
and you must be really good to go to this big
Yeah.
school, right?
No, that's
You know what
real.
I'm saying? That's
That's real.
that was just my reality. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
And I see you on TV. We watch March Madness, and that's how we would go back,
right.
right? So March Madness would come, and you see such and such playing this person. And I'd be like, "Mom, that was the dude that was just playing at the
Yeah.
shootout." You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
oh, that was I didn't know. Wow, that's D Wade. He was just playing at the shootout, and
Yeah.
he killing Kentucky right now, about to go to the Final Four. Like that was what it was for me
That's real.
to say, "Oh, I got his autograph when he was here in Thanksgiving,"
Yeah.
right? So for me, like the reason why I say yes and no is because I wanted it, but I didn't have it wasn't an everyday occurrence that
Okay.
I saw it,
All right. That's real.
right? So like if I grew up in Tampa, prime example, if I grew up in Tampa, I would have seen the Graham twins, I would have seen Tyrus Wade, I would have
Right.
seen Dominic Jones, I would have seen Maurice Spates. Like
Right.
I would have seen it,
For sure.
Dwayne Bacon. Like you know what I'm saying? I would have
Yep.
seen it more and more to the point to where like every summer they come to see they hoop. I would see them every summer. You know what I'm saying? And I
Right.
would see them every year. Like, oh, this person going to this school, that person going to this school, this person going to that school. Oh, this person got drafted. Oh, that like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it's not it's not rare to see coming out of Tampa.
Right.
But where I grew up, it was rare.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm
Okay.
saying? So I
Sure.
didn't I was too young. I was really young when Trajan went to Duke. I was like 4, maybe 5. So I wasn't old enough to understand the process, right? Or the different levels.
Mm.
So then other than that, it was Mario, and he was a year older. There
Right.
was other guys that made it. Um, they went to small D1s, X, Y, and Z, but like the standard, it's not like me coming out of Tampa. So
Right.
I had to imagine everything for the
For
most
sure.
part, you
Okay.
know.
So I saw you touched on your time at Bartlett. You kind of like summarize it, teammates with Mario,
Yeah.
y'all won the state championship. That's great.
Yeah.
Where was, I guess, making that varsity team, like where was your love for basketball at that point, ninth grade year? I would say, like, I know you say you didn't play that much, but where were
Yeah.
you at in terms of mentally basketball?
Um, Honestly, I was happy to be on the team because I didn't make grades for a semester.
Mm. Okay.
I didn't make grades for a semester, so I couldn't even try out for the team. I couldn't do nothing, right?
Mm.
And so my stepdad was like, "Oh, you didn't make grades? You're not playing at all this year."
Mm.
My concept was, "Oh, okay, well, if I make grades second semester, I can play half the season." My dad was
Right.
like, "No,"
Mm.
because he was trying to teach me that accountability, right?
Right.
So I did everything I could that semester to make sure I made grades, and um, my dad was still like, "No." So
Mm.
then the coach, which was Mario's dad at the time,
Oh, okay.
came and talked to my dad. He was like, "I really want him to play." Da da da. My dad was like, "No, like
Mm.
he should have made grades first semester or first quarter. Excuse me, first
Right.
quarter, not semester.
Mm.
First quarter. He should have made grades first quarter." And after a while, my dad was like, "I'm gonna let you play, but if you don't make grades again, you're gonna sit out a whole year." So when I came mid season, for me um it was like I'm happy to be here, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time it was like I'm the only freshman. So I got all the freshman beatings per se, metaphorically.
Right.
They never beat me up, but
For sure.
all the freshmen hazing, to a certain standard. Nothing ever dangerous, but I had to carry the bags.
Right.
I had to help pick up all the equipment because I was the only freshman. I had to earn my keep. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? So even at that time, I was just happy to be the only freshman on varsity.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how that went for me. And then we won the state title my freshman year. Because believe it or not, I told my mom in middle school, I said it all through middle school, I'm gonna win all 4 years in high school.
Wow.
I told her that. And I used to tell everybody that. And they used to laugh
Wow.
at me. They used to laugh, man, you're not going to win the state title. I used to tell everybody, I'm winning the state title all 4 years. And I ended up
Wow.
winning it all 4 years. But rest in peace, Coach Gino. He called me after I won my senior year.
Mm.
He called me. He said, "You said you was gonna win all
He did.
years of high school." And I said, "I did." And he said, "You did that." And he's like, "You know how many people have done that?"
Wow.
And I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "It's crazy." because I didn't know what I was really saying I was going to do when I was in middle school.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know the magnitude. I just said I want to win. I'm going to win all 4 years of high school.
Really?
So
So
that's
you
why. So
you
that's
just
why,
said it.
like when I told, yeah, I don't even know where it came from, honestly.
Wow.
Um, like we can add my mom to the call, just so you know, just so you know I'm not lying. You know what I'm saying? Like just so you know I'm not lying. I
No, I
literally used to
believe you.
say like riding in the car, like I'd be like, because when I was in middle school, we won the championship my 7th and 8th grade year in middle school.
Okay.
So, and then in elementary school, my stepdad used to coach me. We used to win almost every year. So I was accustomed to winning, right?
Right.
Like I thought that was the standard. Like I just thought that's how it was. Like we just win. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like playing YMCA, my stepdad coached me and we had a good team and we won almost every I think there's one year we didn't win. Um, but yeah, we used to win all the time, right?
Wow.
So like when I got to middle school and I joined the program, God bless Coach Dade in the Stars program.
Mhm.
Um, we won 7th and 8th grade year because in Alaska, middle school starts 7th and 8th grade. Like 6th grade, you're
Okay.
still elementary.
Oh.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, so sixth
Oh.
grade, you're still elementary back home.
Hmm.
So, I won in middle school, so I was like, I'm gonna win all 4 years in high school,
Right.
right?
That's real.
So I didn't know, like, mind you, playing middle school and then going to high school, like you're not playing people your age. Like you be a freshman playing against a senior, and that
Yeah.
senior does not care that you're a freshman. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's how it went for me. But it was just a mentality that I had. Like I said, it came from the man above and from my mom and the people around. Like I
Okay.
used to say, man, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I remember I was at church one day and I was going around saying what everybody wanted to be when they grow up. I said, I'm going to the NBA. They
Hmm. Wow.
laughed. Like I'm not talking about like a chuckle.
Hmm.
I'm talking about they laughed for a good 2, 3 minutes. The
Hmm.
whole room.
Hmm.
The whole room laughed for like 2, 3 minutes. Because it wasn't normal.
Okay.
That wasn't normal for us,
Right.
right? That wasn't normal to see one of us go D1. Like it happened randomly, but it wasn't like an every year occurrence thing, right? Especially at that time, it was like one in every 4 or 5 years.
Hmm.
So for me, it was like it just had a mentality like I'm gonna do what people say I couldn't do.
Right.
And
That's
I
real.
don't know where it started, but that's just how it was for me.
Oh, that's
And so
great. It
when
was
I
just in.
did that, yeah, when I did it, like I said, I didn't understand what I was saying about winning all 4 years of state. I didn't know how hard it is to win a state championship. I just won middle school. Like I'm gonna keep doing
Right.
it. Like not knowing that it's two different levels.
Right.
And so I just did that. And but yeah, going back to the question, the culture is heavy. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
bragging rights.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? It's bragging rights because that's mainly what we had.
Yeah. So at that point, so how tall are you at the end of your freshman year? Like, are you pretty like are you developed like what you're right now? Like you're pretty tall. So like were you like at 6? Maybe you're probably for sure over
I was
6, right?
like, nah. When I was a freshman,
Oh.
I probably was barely 6 foot.
Oh wow. Okay. All right.
I was barely 6 foot. I was probably barely 6 foot, but I was lanky.
Okay.
Like you could tell
Gotcha.
I was going to be tall, but I just wasn't. I was taller than everybody else,
Yeah.
but I was only like probably like 6 foot.
Okay. That's
But I
real.
was probably like 6 foot. And then when I graduated high school, I was like 6'5".
Yeah.
When I graduated high school, excuse me, I was 6'5" when I graduated high school. And then after my freshman year of college, I came back home and I grew 3 inches that summer, and I've been six
Oh,
eight.
okay. All right. Yeah, we definitely gotta get to that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you know, you're out here winning championships after championships, and you have this dream of going into the NBA. But in
Mm-hmm.
between that, there's that one step of college. You have to go to college. Well, how
Yeah,
did you prep yourself for college, and when did you know, like, I'm going to one of these big college schools?
Yes, the recruiting. That
man. My high school going to college story is a miracle, honestly.
oh, okay.
It's a miracle. I'll give y'all the short version. Um, so my senior year, the summer before my senior year, I played for an AAU team called the Oakland Soldiers, right?
Okay.
I played for the Oakland Soldiers. They got a lot of guys that play for that program that's in the pros,
Yeah.
right? I went to major D1 schools. So
Sorry
I'm
to
playing for
interrupt.
that. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but was EYBL a thing back then when you were playing for the Oakland
Nah,
Soldiers?
it was the EYBL wasn't a thing yet. It was growing. It just started around that time. But the tournament was the Super 64 in Vegas.
Okay.
That was like the tournament, right?
Okay.
And so playing for the Oakland Soldiers, we went to that tournament. We made it to the Final Four,
Mm,
right? So it was us, D1 Greyhounds that had OJ Miller, no, OJ Mayo, and Billy Skywalker. Then
okay.
on the other side, it was the Southern Cal All. No, it was the Mean Streets Express. They had Derrick Rose and Eric Gordon,
Ish.
and versus the Indy Heat, which was Greg Oden, Daquan Cook, Mike Conley,
Right.
that group, right? So we go to the Final Four. We play the D1 Greyhounds. We lose to the D1 Greyhounds. But I had such a phenomenal summer, and being at those tournaments with that program, I got ranked. That's when the recruiting started.
Right.
And the funny thing is about recruiting, uh, my top two schools was North Carolina and Arizona. Those were like my two dream schools, right? Um, we're playing in Vegas. I think it's the Elite Eight game. Yeah, it's the Elite Eight game in Vegas. So this is the biggest tournament of the summer, like EYBL. The Elite Eight, every game leading up to that, I saw an Arizona coach, whether it's assistant coach, whatever. I saw somebody with an Arizona polo, right?
Mm,
So I'm like, Coach, Arizona here. He's like, well, you better play,
mm,
right? Every game. Elite Eight game, we're warming up. Lou Olson, head coach of Arizona, sitting courtside,
mm,
right? I get hyped. Oh, Lou Olson here? And I see him looking at me.
mm,
So I'm like, oh, Lou Olson here, man. I'm finna go to Arizona. Blah, blah, blah. I'm finna ball out. I had the worst first half of my life.
mm.
The worst first half. I couldn't buy a bucket. I couldn't I couldn't do nothing right.
Right.
Right. Halftime, I'm upset, frustrated. I had the worst first half I could ever think of. I'm like, all right, I'm finna go back out here. I'm finna I'm finna get back to what I do. You know what I'm saying? Talking
Yeah.
myself up. And I walk out, Lou Olson gone.
Mm,
Mhm.
Lou Olson gone. I end up having one of the best second halves I ever played, but Lou Olson gone. So I never heard from Arizona again after that.
wow.
Right. And so in that tournament, like I said, we go to the Final Four. So now recruiting is at another level.
Right.
Because when you're one of the main guys on one of the Final Four teams, all the top schools is there. They want to see the cream of the crop, right?
And this is your junior summer leading to senior year, right?
Yeah, junior,
Okay.
summer, leading senior.
Okay.
So, um, and it's crazy. Like when I tell people, I swear people think I'd be lying, but I'd be so serious. Um, we lose to D1 Greyhounds in the Final Four. Um, my coach and the guy that Mark Olivier, who runs the Oakland Soldiers, like, man, you need to move to California and play your final
Mm,
year of high school here.
wow.
Right? They're like, I'm getting all these calls about you. They just don't want to go to Alaska to recruit you.
Mm,
Right?
mm,
There's like it's different if you're the University of Arizona and I just got to go to California to recruit a kid. It's a
right.
total different story when I got to go to Alaska to recruit a kid. When I could just go to California or Texas or whatever. Right?
Mhm.
Um, so I kind of took that personally. I was like, well, they don't want to come to Alaska. They don't want to recruit me for it.
Whoa.
So I came back to Alaska my senior year, and I had schools recruit me. and I was going to go to USC.
Mhm.
I was tied in to USC. USC played in the Great Alaska Shootout my senior year. So I was at their practices. I was in the locker room before and after the games. Like, I was USC, right? And that's when they had Nick Young, Swaggy
Mm.
P. And Swaggy P, like, I swear he didn't take nothing serious. Like pre-game, post-game, like, I swear up and down, he didn't take nothing serious.
Yeah.
Even in practice, like the coach be fussing and he'd be like, him and Gabe Pruitt. Like, I was like,
Right.
bro, I know they about to go to the league because they ain't tripping on nothing, right?
Wow.
So that's Thanksgiving 2005.
Okay.
Fast forward to we win the state championship in March, early March. Fast forward to the end of March.
All right.
I send my papers to USC,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm like, okay, out of all the schools that's recruiting me, USC just felt right. I send my transcripts in. USC calls me back and say, you're not eligible. I'm
Mm.
like, what you mean? What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you can't go to college.
Mm.
They're like, you're school eligible, but you're not clearinghouse eligible. I was like, clearinghouse? What is the clearinghouse?
Mm.
And if you don't know what the clearinghouse
Mm.
is the clearinghouse is for D1 sports. There's certain requirements that you have to do to be D1 eligible academically.
Okay.
So if you don't check off those boxes by your transcripts and the classes that you passed and took, you're not eligible to accept that scholarship.
Wow.
I had no clue what clearinghouse was, one.
Right.
Two, my school had no idea what clearinghouse was.
Wow.
So mind you, it's March. I graduate in May of
Okay.
2006. So in March, I'm looking like I graduate in 2 months. You know what I'm saying? So after that, once word got out, I lost every scholarship that was offered.
Mm.
Every scholarship: USC, UCLA, Washington State, um, Arizona State, St. Mary's, like on and on and on. I lost every
Mm.
scholarship offer. Even the schools that was like on the verge of offering me, Georgia
Yeah.
Tech, call me. Like, I call them, like, they're like, we can't offer you. So I lost every scholarship,
Wow.
and I had 10 plus at the time. I lost every scholarship.
Wow.
So
And
I'm
so up
like,
until that point, oh, sorry, but to that point, clearinghouse, like nobody, like that was never mentioned up to you, like something like that, like that,
mm-mm.
like that was. I don't even know what. I haven't
Yeah,
even
I
heard
didn't
of what
know that
clearinghouse.
either. You
Yeah,
know?
nah, that's not.
Wow.
That was clearinghouse wasn't even a conversation, right?
Wow.
I
Yeah.
just thought I had to graduate from high school. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, I lost every scholarship. So imagine 17 years old,
Mm.
you got these schools calling you. North Carolina called me in the middle of class because of the time difference. We were 4 hours behind. So
Okay.
when they called me, I was in class. So I
Mm.
called them at lunch, and they're like, "Yeah, we saw your tape. We want to know, like, where you at right now." And I'm telling them schools that's recruiting me because I'm like, I want y'all to think like I'm being recruited, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I
Of
don't want you to think like y'all could just sit back and wait till the last minute. Like, I got schools, big schools actively recruit me.
course.
Um, so, they were like, well, we don't have any scholarships, but would you come to our prep school?
Mm.
And because they got a prep school on campus.
Mm. Wow.
Um, it was like, you take all your college courses, but you just play for the prep school and then come the following year. I said, I'll do it if y'all let me sign a letter of intent this year for next year.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'll go to the prep school as long as I'm signed to go the following year. Like, I don't want to go
Sure.
to the prep school and it's not a guarantee that I have a scholarship
Right.
with y'all the following year. So, um, long story short, that fell through. But my mind was set on USC anyway. right? And so when I lost all the scholarships, it got so bad to a point to where like they told me I wouldn't even been able to go to JUCO
Mm.
because of one math class that I didn't take my sophomore year of high school.
Right.
I was in the class, I was in the math class my sophomore year, but I was just behind. I didn't get it. So I switched out, not knowing that that was one of the class, that was the class that I needed to be clearinghouse eligible my senior year.
Wow. One
So that's
class.
why I tell kids how one class, bro, from my
Jeez.
sophomore year.
Wow.
Because I think when you like at that time when you switch the class, like that grade is still on your transcript. It's just that you didn't finish the class,
Mm.
right? So that's how that worked out for me. So now it's March. I'm supposed to graduate in May. In my mind, I'm going to USC,
Right.
and now I have no clue which way is up
Mm.
because everything that I worked hard for was taken. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it happened in a span of a week, like one by one. It was like
Mm.
once the news got out, it was like it was like fire spread.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I don't know what to do now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I went from this prospect from Alaska, going on these visits to these big major schools
Right.
to I I can't even get a coach to pick up the phone.
Right.
Right.
Well, we know you went to I'm curious, like what kept you, just what kept you during that moment? Because that sounds like a wild week for any normal. So like
Man.
what just, I know your mom's sound, I mean, from what you say, she sounds strong. So was it her? Like
Mhm.
like what kept you
It
there?
was my whole family, honestly. My mom, my
Okay.
dad, my stepdad, my stepmom, my grandmothers. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it was really the people who it was really my tight knit family. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Um,
That's real.
because when I would go about the city, people, Mom, I thought you was going D1. What you still doing here?
Mm.
Like it was a joke. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Um, so yeah, so fast forward during that summer. So during April and May, I would go to public school and then I would go to a private school after school to just do straight math from like 3 to 9 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday.
Wow.
So I was taking a whole nother course of math after public school.
Wow.
So I was going to school all day, right?
Wow.
So I finished the class end of May. I finished the class end of May and I sent it to Clearinghouse. So at that time, I go play for a prep school in DC called National Christian Academy. Well, they're in Fort Washington, Maryland, but
Mm.
I go to National Christian Academy. I do the whole summer circuit again.
Mm.
At this point, I have no schools, right?
Right.
I go from no schools to by the end of that summer, I had Georgetown, I had Rutgers, I had Tennessee, I had Kentucky, so on and so on. Even Florida State was recruiting me at the time.
Right.
So I went from schools to no schools to back to schools, right?
Wow.
So now at this point, you know, you 18, you still playing high school basketball. You're like, man, I'm supposed to be in college. I'm supposed to be on the campus right now. So I remember when Nebraska called, yeah, we want to offer him on right now. I was like, man, I'm ready. I'm going. My coach was like, whoa, whoa. He was like, time out. You're not going to Nebraska. No offense to Nebraska.
Yeah.
No offense to Nebraska, but it was so early in the summer. We went to one tournament in Nebraska.
Wow.
So I'm like, man, I'm ready to get up out of here. He like, man,
Yeah.
hold. He like, hold on. He was like, I get where you at right now, but play the whole summer out.
Right.
Like, don't jump on the first opportunity. Okay, all right. So, you know, we were playing in West Virginia,
Mm.
and we're playing a team. I got the rebound. I took a full court, dunked it. Right.
Mm.
People go, oh, Very next play on defense, I got the ball again off the rebound, dribbled
Yeah.
up the court, did a little move again, dunked it, boom. Oh, everybody going crazy. So at that time, I didn't know that Kentucky was watching a guy on the next court.
Mm.
I didn't know. I didn't know who was there. I was just hooping, right?
Wow.
At this time, Georgetown's recruited me, and I was going to like open gym with Georgetown during the day, during the week. Like, so in my mind, I'm going to Georgetown. Like,
Right.
so I played like I was going to Georgetown. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to Georgetown next year. Like, so now I'm playing with a different type of confidence.
For sure.
And so fast forward the next weekend, we play Nationals in Orlando at the Wild World Sports.
Mhm.
We're playing the Elite Eight game again, and I'm at the free throw line, and this older gentleman walk in, look like somebody's grandfather. Nike hat, Nike sweatsuit, hoodie.
Yeah.
You know, nothing crazy like a normal Nike outfit,
Yeah.
right? He walk in the gym, he looked dead at me at the free throw line. So I'm like, who is that? Right?
Right.
I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm like, it's like that must be somebody's grandfather. You know what I'm saying? No
Right.
offense. But I'm like, that must be somebody's grandfather. He's just
Yeah.
coming to watch them play. So we play the game, whatever, and I have like 25.
Mm.
We end up losing that game. We lost the game like in the last seconds. Playing that game, um, after the game, my mom's blowing up my phone. Like, I don't answer, right back. I don't answer, right back.
Mm.
So one thing about me, I hate losing, right? I
For
don't
sure.
want to talk. I don't want to talk. I don't care how good I play. We lose, I don't want to talk. I don't want to answer my phone. Like, let me get this out of my system, right? My mom's blowing up my phone. So I'm like, so I finally answer, like, yes, mom.
Mm.
Ramon, why you ain't answer your phone? We just lost. My mom knows how I am when we
Right.
lose. Like, my mom knows how I am when we lose, right?
Right.
Like, my family know. Like, if we lose, if we lose, like, give me a minute.
Yeah.
Like, don't call me right after the game,
For sure.
right? My mom blowing up my phone. So I finally answer. I'm like, yes, mom. She's like, why you ain't answer your phone? We just lost.
Yeah.
Man, she like, listen, the coach from Kentucky just called me. He was at your game watching you play. He offered you the scholarship while you was
Wow.
playing. That was the older gentleman that walked in when I was at the free throw
Wow. Would
line.
have
I had
never
no
noticed.
idea, and it was Tubby Smith.
Wow.
I had no idea that he was Tubby Smith and that he was the head coach of Kentucky. No
Huh.
idea. And he called my mom during the game while I was
Mm.
still playing because I seen him on the phone talking and like looking at me. I'm like, who is this? Who is this dude? Right?
Right.
Come to find out, he was on the phone with my mom and he was calling her and talking to her and explaining the whole process while I was playing. And he offered
Wow.
me a scholarship. He offered the scholarship to my mom first. So then after that, we ended up losing. So that was the end of the summer. I went back to Alaska.
Mhm.
And that's when I got on the phone with Tubby and the whole recruiting pitch, and the rest is history.
So at that point, at that summer, how many offers, you went through the process? How many offers did you have, after losing everything that you had? How many did you pick up over that with Washington Christian?
Um, Offers, I had like 7 or 8 official
Okay.
offers, but I
Okay.
had schools like, we want you to come, but they never officially offered, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They were recruiting me, hyping me up, but I'm like, okay, are you officially offering me? Oh yeah, just we just waiting on one. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it was at that time, it was Kentucky, it was Georgetown, it was Tennessee, it was Florida State, and it was Rutgers.
Uh-huh.
Was the top five
Okay.
out of that official. Like they offered me, and it was like, we want you to come. Other schools was like, we want you to come, but y'all still ain't offering.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But those
Right.
are the top five that was like, come.
Wow. So,
So it was like
yeah.
either stay at the prep school because it's the end of summer. I can go back to Maryland and play for this prep school,
Okay.
or I can go to Kentucky right now.
Okay.
So it was like,
Oh, so you were
I'm
already
in.
set on Kentucky, even outside of the four other schools in your top five. after what set Tubby Smith apart for you during that? Just what'd you like about him?
Because when he recruited me, he didn't recruit me.
Mm,
He wasn't selling the pitch. He wasn't trying to sell the school. He
mm,
wasn't trying to sell what type of success I would have at the school. When I talked to Tubby, he talked to me like he was my like a father or a grandfather. You know what I'm saying?
uh,
We had
that's true.
conversation.
Okay.
When we
Sure.
talked, it wasn't about, well, when you come here, you know, you're gonna play this amount of minutes, or you're gonna do this. We talked about life,
Mm,
right? We talked about what I went through that summer.
mm,
We talked about, you know, we just talked about life at that time.
sure.
So when I was talking to him and we had multiple conversations, when I talked to him, I was like, I was say, man, you know what? He ain't never mentioned like my role on the team or what he want me
Mm,
to do. So he ain't never mentioned that. He was
mm.
more wondering, like, he was like, you got a girlfriend? What's her name? What grade is she
Yeah.
in? You know what I'm saying? Like, my
Oh, I
bad.
love that.
I
I love
lost it.
that.
My bad, I lost it. But that's the
You,
conversations we had. So when we finally had a conversation about me coming on my official visit, I said, hey, coach, you know, you never like mentioned like me playing for you, like what that looked like. He was like, and he was honest. He was like, I honestly won't know until
mm,
you get here.
mm,
So for me, I was like, dang, okay, I can appreciate that. It
okay.
was just like the honesty that I got from him in the conversation. Because when other schools recruit me, they were sending me letters with my name on the jersey, and um, they were sending me like stuff back then. We got letters, like it wasn't like a IG post. Like we got official letters.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like
got you.
we got official letters like of your locker with your name on it and jersey and stuff like that. That's what we got. Well, I got in letters. So when that happened, all the other schools was like sending me letters with like, oh, the starting five and like made up stats for the games and stuff like that. Like trying to be creative, trying to give me that visual.
Mm,
Kentucky did that, but when I talked to Tubby, we talked about life.
I love that. Wow. I love that.
So then once you get there to Kentucky, right, and then you start playing, how was that adjustment going from, all the other games you've had to now you're in this college environment? How was
Mm,
how was that different? How did you adjust over there?
You know, that was crazy. So I I accept the I signed the letter of intent to Kentucky, right?
mhm.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, I'm still under investigation with the
Mm,
clearinghouse.
still.
Oh, wow.
I'm still under investigation. So the clearinghouse sent somebody up to Alaska
Wow.
to make sure that my public school was a real public school and that the school that I went to afterwards was a legit location. So
Ish.
like the program I went to was like a GED school, right? Kids get kicked out of school or then finish whatever. It was like a GED school, but I went
Mhm.
there to do my one math class, right? So they sent people up to Alaska to make sure my high school was legit and to make sure that the program, the GED school that I went to, was legit as well.
Right.
So I went to Kentucky the week after Thanksgiving of 2006. Mind
Oh,
you, up
okay.
to that, from August to November, I was in Alaska
Wow.
waiting to get cleared. I
Mm,
already signed my letter of intent. I'm waiting to get cleared.
mm.
So
What do you,
imagine,
hold on. Oh no,
I
go ahead,
was gonna say,
please.
I was about to say, imagine you're telling people you signed your letter of intent to Kentucky, but you're still home.
Mm,
Mhm.
Everybody was like, "Mon, I thought you was going to Kentucky." Like joking, like it was a joke. Like I
mm,
was a laughing joke, and I was like, "I am. I'm just waiting for one thing to clear." So
mhm.
imagine being home August, September, October. High school sports are starting up again. I'm still home.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Um, and my cousin, he played. We were on the same. We're the same age. He signed to the D2 school at home.
Mm.
So the D2 is called Alaska Anchorage, UAA, University of Alaska Anchorage. They told my cousin to call me and say, "Hey, if you want to, we got a spot for you."
Wow.
I'm like, "Nah." I'm good. I'm going to Kentucky.
Mm.
And my cousin, like, "Man, they telling me you're not going."
Wow.
I said, "Nah, I'm going." Right. So I'm in the house most of the time now. I don't want to go outside because I was a laughing joke. Like it was a laughing joke. And I got the call the week before Thanksgiving, and Tubby Smith said, "Ramon, you are officially cleared."
Oh.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
but then he was like, "But because you missed summer school and you missed the start of the season or start of regular school, you can't do nothing with the team until Christmas break."
Wow.
Mm.
So I'm like, "Dang, bro, another like wall, right?" He was like,
Right.
"No, no, no." He's like, "You can't do nothing, but I didn't say you couldn't be here." I'm like, "So what am I supposed to do?" So from Thanksgiving to Christmas break, all I did was work out. I
Right.
couldn't go to class. I couldn't go to class. All I could do was just work out. That's all I
Could
could
you
do.
could you watch practices? Like, you couldn't? So you couldn't
Yeah,
practice?
yeah.
Like,
I couldn't practice. I could watch practice.
okay.
I couldn't participate in practice. I couldn't do nothing team oriented with the team.
Okay.
So I would practice before the practice, and I would do some type of training after practice.
Right.
And then they would have team meals provided for the team after practice every Monday through Friday.
Right.
I couldn't eat with the team. I had to wait
Mm.
Mm.
till they were done eating, then I could go in and eat.
Mm.
And
Mm.
then when the team would have film or study, whatever the case may be, I couldn't partake.
Mm.
I
So
couldn't
just working
partake.
out. Oh,
So I had to do everything on my own until December 19th, 2006.
wow.
And that day, Kentucky played Louisville.
Mm.
Mhm.
So my first college game, I suited up for one of the biggest rivalries in college history
This was at Louisville, at Kentucky, or
at Louisville.
oh my
Wow.
God.
That was my first college game. Was
Jeez.
me suiting up for a Kentucky versus Louisville game.
What paint, take us there. What's going high school? You was just in high school. You really
Hmm.
haven't played no college ball, like no nothing.
I haven't done.
Halfway through the season at this point?
I had one practice with the team, official
Okay,
practice with the team.
yeah. What's going take us there. What's going through
Man,
your head?
when you talk about wet behind the ears, that was me. Man, I remember we had the one. So, mind you, I'm just working out. I couldn't wear nothing Kentucky when I was
Wow.
working out. I couldn't, like, nothing that a player from the team gets, I couldn't get, right?
Jeez.
I wasn't even living in the dorm in the lodge. It was the Wildcat Lodge at the time, but that's where only the basketball players stayed. It's called the Wildcat Lodge. I
Right.
couldn't even stay there with the rest of the
Mm.
basketball players. I was living in a dorm with a regular, and no disrespect, but I was living in a dorm with a regular
Yeah.
college student.
Yeah. Yeah.
No disrespect to him, but he wasn't nothing basketball. Like he was a regular college student.
Right.
So that's where I was at with it. So
Wow.
I was staying in a normal dorm, and
Wow.
I was working out twice, sometimes three times a day. That's all I was doing.
Jeez.
And
So in
my first college game was Louisville.
those workouts, were you basically on your own working out, or would the coaches come and give you
No.
some little tips or anything like that?
Good question.
So the weight room I worked out with the strength coach.
Okay.
But on the court, I did my workout with the grad assistants
Okay.
because I couldn't be coached by the coaches. They would
Oh,
peek their head in.
interesting.
They
Yeesh.
would they would peek their head in, see how
Yeah.
it's going, and get back out. But I couldn't
Wow.
be coached by the team, by the
Okay.
coaches.
They don't play.
because I wasn't an official college student until Christmas break.
Okay, gotcha. Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
so your first, so okay, so we got up to lean to that Louisville game. How was it? Like, how did the game go for you? You would say just
it was crazy.
getting
It
on the
was
court.
crazy. I knew I wasn't going to see the floor.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying? Like I had one practice,
for sure.
Mhm.
and I'm like, man, I used to watch this rivalry on TV,
Wow.
right? Like I like Duke, North Carolina, Louisville, Kentucky. Like, you know what I'm saying? Them games was like the rivalry games was everything, right?
Right.
So even watching those games, like it was surreal that I was sitting there.
For sure.
Even though I knew this is what I wanted and this is what I prayed for and this is what I believed in, but to actually be sitting there, you know what I'm saying? Like that's
Yeah.
totally that's like because I remember, um, so you got your warm up time with your group, and then there's like the free time per se, right? So I got off the bus, I got dressed, I went out on the court. It's the free time, so I'm just out there shooting, doing whatever I want to do, and then my group time came. So I'm doing the pregame warm up with my group time, and I'm literally sitting here like, dang, I'm really a D1 athlete,
Right.
right? Like I'm going through the drills, dunking the ball, and I'm like, dang, yo, I'm really here. Like that's
Yeah.
all I could think about.
No,
Like
for
I'm
sure.
really here. And so our group time was up, and I'm walking to the locker room. I'm signing autographs like I'm somebody. I'm signing autographs.
I love that.
Go, you know what I'm saying? Go to the locker room.
Yeah.
So now I come to the locker room. This is the first time I see my uniform.
Wow.
So I come back to the locker room. Everybody's uniform is up, and I'm looking, and I see mine. I said, "Yo!" Like I picked it up. I'm looking at it like front, back, like you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yo, this is crazy."
Yeah.
Name on the back. Everything is stitched. Numbers, letters, name, everything stitched on the jersey. I'm like, "Yo, this is surreal." Like I just
Yeah.
sat there and just stared at my jersey for the longest. They was like, "Yo, Mom, get dressed before Coach come out. Like get dressed." Her like, "Hurry up."
Wow.
So I get dressed, put on my uniform, da da da. Mind you, I never went through this process.
Right.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know
Sure.
what I'm expecting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So long story short, we go back out. The whole team warm up. You know, that's when all the fans are in the gym and everybody cheering. And I just remember running out to the court,
Lord.
and we ran to the center court. And our captain giving a little speech. I'm looking around like, yo,
Yeah.
this is crazy.
Yeah.
So we do layup lines, the band's playing. You know, you hear the announcers on the side of the court. That I'm like, yo, I used to watch. Just this time last year, I was watching this game on TV.
Wow.
Now I'm in it. So when the game started, like I had nerves. Like I was
Sure.
about to play. I had nerves. Like why I got nerves? I had one practice. I'm not finna play,
Right.
right? But in my mind, I'm like, shh, I'm here. And it was the craziest thing because we ended up winning that game. But that really turned out to be like, I was like, yo, my first college game was a rivalry game, one of the biggest rivalries in college basketball. Like, and that's why I was like, when I do tell people, I be like, people swear up and down I'm lying. I'm like, man, I'm finna call my mama. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm finna call my mama because it's so surreal. That's why,
Yeah.
like, I tell kids now, like, bro, it can happen. If I could do it, you definitely can do
Yeah. No, that's real. That's real. So
it.
that freshman, so like you had one practice after that game. How were like what did you know after those first couple practices, after those weeks of games? Like what did you know for sure that you needed to work on personally to be able to add some value to the team? that like you knew coming in? Because I mean, that's your story up to that point is incredible. But like, what did you know for sure that you needed to work on to do something?
Man, after my first workout at Kentucky, I asked myself, is this really what I want to do?
Oh wow.
My first workout. Because what I was doing up to that point, it's hard to prepare for something you don't know what you're preparing for, right?
That's
My first workout, when I got to Kentucky, I did a weightlifting workout with the strength coach. Killed me,
mm,
right? Killed me. Um, but then after that, I go straight to the court and do a basketball workout.
mm,
So I did that workout, and it was funny. My mom and my stepdad were still in Kentucky at the time.
mm,
So where the Kentucky facility is, it's like on a little hill, like a slant of a street.
mm.
I came out the bottom of it, like the exit I came out of was at the bottom of the street, right?
Right.
My parents were in the car kind of up the street, up the slanted street. I was so tired. I was so tired. I started to walk up the street
Yeah.
and I just sat down. I just sat down and they were laughing at me. Roll down the windows. Come on, come on, come on, come on. I was so tired. I said, if I don't make it, I just don't make it. I just sat there on the sidewalk.
Wow.
I sat there and tried to gather myself because I was like, if this is what it takes, and I feel like every college player goes through that moment,
For sure.
right? You go through the moment like, man, this can't be college basketball, or this can't be college football, or because like it's the work that you're putting in is you've never done before.
Right.
So I was sitting there. I sat there for like 10 minutes. They like Ramon, come on, like they trying to tell me like as a parent, get up. I'm like,
All right, moving.
uh,
I am
I'm
not
not
moving.
moving. I'm not moving. I was exhausted,
I
but
bet.
at the same time, uh, I came back the next day. I came back the day after that. I came back the day after that. Like I showed up. I didn't miss not one workout leading up to December 19th. I didn't
Mm,
miss one workout.
it's great.
You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, like I told you, everything I've been through, I was like, man, the fact that I'm even here right now. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that I'm here right now, man, listen.
See why you said
And all I
miracle.
did was work out. Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
miracle for sure. So all I did was work out. So
for
I just
sure.
had to make sure I got up, did my workout, and then like if at that time they were practicing in the afternoon, so they would be in class in the morning. So that's when I would work out because the
Oh,
facility is empty.
okay.
So the facility is empty. They would have practice at like 2. So I'll have weightlifting at 10, 10 to 11:30, and then I'll be on the court from like 12 to 1:30.
Okay.
By that time, the dudes are in the gym. They're coming on the court to warm up. So I would literally be finishing as they come on the court.
Mm,
So then I would sit, watch practice 2 to whatever time they got done. And then depending on that day, I might have to work out again or I was
right.
done for the day. Right.
Okay.
So that's how my schedule was from Thanksgiving up to
Wow.
Christmas.
That's real. That's real.
About now once you get past that, now you're gonna have to add classes onto that. How did you kind of juggle kind of like those classes and practice? Because at the beginning you're very practice focused. You're very focused on that. But now you gotta add another burden on top of that to go
Yeah.
through.
Sure.
Um yeah, I was terrible in school after that.
Mm,
By the end of my freshman year, I was on academic probation.
mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I was on academic probation because I just juggling college. I didn't get summer school to prepare me, like how to
For
juggle
sure.
college, working, understanding that a professor's not going to tell you you got homework, you got to follow the syllabus on your own. Like little stuff like that, I didn't know about college. So
Sure.
I was missing assignments. I didn't know I had to turn in because I'm like, shoot, college is a breeze. We ain't got no homework.
Right.
We got this little classwork. I'm going I'm going to tutoring. They're like, Ramon, you do your homework? I'm like, what homework? I ain't got no homework. Like college, this is college cool. Because by this time, I'm physically I've already adjusted to college basketball and
Right.
workouts and practice. So not that practice wasn't hard, but I've like come around that curve. So now it's just an everyday thing, right?
Right.
So now we in school. I'm like, shoot, man. Everybody talking about college, man. I ain't got no homework. I said my class is a breeze. Man, they pulled up that syllabus. I was missing hella assignments
Wow.
because I just like I'm thinking our teacher gonna tell us what our homework is,
Right.
right? Not thinking go to the syllabus, understand that I need to read this page, this amount of pages by this period of time,
Yep.
or turn this paper in on these chapters. Like I was just man, my tutor sat me down and broke down. I said, "Oh, dude, I'm in trouble."
Sure.
So
Wow.
I was on academic probation.
What does that do to your
Yeah.
basketball? So that was the semester after the season was over, or is that
No,
spring
that was mid season. So that was like starting in
mid-season? Okay.
January.
Okay. So starting
Starting in
January.
January. Yeah, starting in January when everybody came back from Christmas break,
Okay.
I started school.
What does that
So
do to your basketball privileges? Does that know like
um
in terms of
at the time it didn't do anything. I don't know if it's because they knew I came in mid season and I was still
right,
wet behind the ears.
right,
It wasn't like I was losing playing time because I wasn't playing that much. You
right,
know what I'm saying? Um I wasn't playing that much, so it wasn't like it affected my minutes.
right.
Um, if anything, it probably just showed my immaturity,
Mm,
if
okay.
anything, at that time. And but after that, I took care of school. Like once
Interesting.
I at the end of the school year, after I did my finals and all that stuff, the academic advisors came to me and said, Ramon, X, Y, and Z, you're on academic probation, but that doesn't like you're not going to lose your scholarship. There's a way we can get it going. So I'm gonna set up I ended up switching my major, and he
Right.
was like, okay, so starting this summer when you come back, we're gonna work towards your new major, and we're gonna take other classes, but they're gonna cover the classes from this period of time. Okay,
Okay.
cool. So after that, I guess like kind of got in the swing of things of college, not college athletics, like academically.
Right.
So coming back now that I came back, I'm in summer school, so now I can learn how to break down and learn like create those habits.
Right.
Because in college you got so much time. We
Yeah.
weren't in, especially summer school. We have a morning workout and we're hooping in the afternoon,
Right.
or we have a workout in the afternoon. I had 3 classes during the summer, so I
Okay.
had time.
Yeah.
So that's where I learned how to manage my time.
Okay.
So then after that, I was able to, and I wasn't on academic probation no more. After I got off at the end of the summer, my grades were good enough to get me off academic probation, and I just handled college accordingly after that.
What went into like choosing your major? Like what interested you like in
Um,
terms of like
my first major was business management because my parents owned the business.
okay.
So I just thought like, okay, I'm around it, so I'm gonna go to school for business management. But realizing that I do not love math like that,
Yeah, that's
I
real.
could do it. I
That's
could
real.
do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I could do math, but when I saw like how much math was required for that major, I was like, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know about this one.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like, nah. So my academic advisor was like, okay, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, other than the NBA, and he kind of laughed because at that time, like I was barely playing, so it was like, yo, we got dudes that already projected draft picks. Like,
Right.
what else you want to do? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I really want to work with the youth.
Mm.
Like,
Okay.
I don't know what major that is, but I want to work with the youth X, Y, and Z. So then that's when he brought up community leadership development.
Whoa, that's a thing.
Yeah,
Wow.
aka youth development,
Okay.
right? So then I was like, okay, cool. So I got my degree in community leadership development, and then I ended up playing pro ball. But that's why I'm working at the skill center now because
Oh,
my
that's
degree
great.
is in youth development. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Nice. So I know you talk a lot about this early year. You didn't get a lot of, well, playing time. So what kind of kept you, pushing forward to the end? You went from like playing a lot and winning all these championships to now you're not playing that often. I know that could probably have a toll on you. So how did you
hmm
kind of handle that?
Mm.
Um. So when I was a kid, me and my mom used to watch a show called Beyond the Glory.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all ever heard of that,
I don't
but it
think
was a
nah.
show like it was a show like um like our athletes. They had like Ray Lewis and Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett's story is the one I remember vividly because that's where I learned. Like I just knew Kevin Garnett playing for the Timberwolves. I didn't know that he went through all that in South Carolina and having to move to Chicago and then how that turned around, right? So when I was going through everything from high school to college, my mom be like, this is just for your episode of Beyond the Glory," right? That's how we
Mm.
kind of like managed it,
Wow.
or to keep a positive mindset about it. So that's what I just kept telling myself. And also with that is like my freshman year of college, I didn't come in until halfway through the season. My freshman year of high school, I didn't come in until halfway through the season.
Right.
So for me, it was like I've done this before, right? It
Wow.
might be a different level, but I'm like, shoot, my freshman year of high school, I didn't start till Christmas break.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then now my college year, I was like, oh dang, this is probably why I went through this back then because I was gonna have to do this now.
Oh,
Oh,
that's a word right there.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So that's how, but that's how, like, when they say it takes a village, that's what my village reminded me of. Like, Ramon, okay, you going through this now, but you went through this at this period of time.
Wow.
And I was like, dang. So that's how, like, my family helped me through stuff because it's like, man, Ramon, this is going to be your episode of Beyond the Glory. People ain't going to believe that you went through this, right?
Wow.
And then it'd be like, oh, well. So then when I got to college, and I'm sitting out. Mind you, when I got to Kentucky, they had games in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I had to sit in the stands like a
Mm.
normal fan.
Wow.
I could come in the gym before the game, but I couldn't go in the locker room. So they just reserved me a seat in the player section with all the parents and family or whoever they decided to come to the game. I had to sit there the whole game and watch them, and then after the game, I can go in the locker room.
Mm.
But like
Wow.
halftime, I couldn't go in the locker room. So I was literally just sitting out there like a fan, watching my teammates play.
Wow.
Right. So all of that was like, okay, I went through this in high school. So now I'm on a different stage, but this stage is a little better. Like I'm eating steak and mashed potatoes and
Mm.
grilled chicken and barbecue chicken and green beans. And I'm
Good.
eating good. You know
Talk
what I'm
about it.
saying? I'm eating good. And I'm thinking this is the life. I just gotta work out every day.
Wow.
I had no requirement. That's why it messed me up when when second semester started.
Yeah.
And they said by the end of that, I'm in academic probation.
Right. Wow. I know you don't like talking about losses, but until we like move on to your sophomore and junior and senior year, but
Yeah.
I think it said y'all made it. Y'all were in the tournament that year. Yeah, did y'all make the tournament y'all freshman year? And then y'all had
Mm-hmm.
the matchup against Mario Chalmers first round.
Oh, that was second round.
Oh, that was second round. Second round.
Yeah,
How was
because
that like?
we beat Villanova the first round,
Okay. Okay, y'all beat
and then we
Villanova.
played Kansas. Yeah, then we
Then-
played Kansas second round.
Oh well, first of all, how was your first NCAA tournament? Also, like just being there.
Crazy,
Crazy.
crazy. Um, like I said, I watched it on TV.
Okay.
That year we was in Chicago, so we're playing in the Chicago Bulls arena. Dream of mine. Grew up watching the Bulls, watching Mike.
Wow.
So that's a dream of mine. You know what I'm saying? Then, um, and one thing I had to adjust to going to Kentucky, we stayed in the best hotels,
Mm.
right? So you know, my family, we weren't rich, but we wasn't poor.
Right.
So we staying in decent hotels. But I get to Kentucky, we stay in a 5-star hotel. And I'm a
Nice.
freshman. I'm getting a room to myself. Big TV on the wall,
But
marble floors, showers. Like I'm like, yo, this is the life,
what?
right? I'm
Yeah.
like, this is the life. We stay in a 5-star hotel. So by the time we get to the tournament, we stay in a 5-star hotel in the tournament. Yeah, I got a room to myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Got a room to myself. Um, oh, my bad.
No, you good.
Um, stay in the room to myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, yo, this is the life, bro.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is the
Yeah.
life. And so we prepare for Villanova, and that's when they had Scotty Reynolds, and he was
Mm.
like killing that year
Mm-hmm.
as a freshman. He was killing. So we get ready for Villanova, same thing. Come out for warm ups. I'm looking around, got the Chicago Bulls floor now. Um, just taking in the environment. Like,
Sure.
and honestly, for me, it was like, dang, this time last year, I was in Alaska playing high school basketball,
Mm.
right? It wasn't like, oh, I was in Texas or I was in New York or whatever. Like, I was in Alaska playing high school basketball. Now I'm warming up in United Center for an NCAA tournament game,
Wow.
right? So for me, it was just taking in everything
That's
my
great.
freshman year at college. And so I went from that to we beat Villanova. So that was like the environment was good. And we watched Kansas. I forgot who Kansas played, but we watched them play, and I just knew. I was like, dang, how crazy is it? Two Alaskans playing against each other in the NCAA tournament, right? Like at two of the top three basketball schools ever, right? So that's how I'm thinking of it. And so um, we getting ready to play Kansas. We're getting ready to play Kansas. And my teammates like, yo, tell us about Mario. I said he
Mm.
got long arms
Mm.
and he plays defense. I
Mm-hmm.
said, now if he hesi, he's going to pull it,
Mm.
right? And like he loves the hesitation pull, especially behind the three.
Yeah.
Man, we came out, played Kansas. Man, Brandon Rush killed us. Mario killed us too. But
Wow.
Brandon Rush had like 7 threes.
And the rush.
Brandon
Wow.
Rush, but mind you, this is the dudes I'm watching on TV. I'm like, yo, that's Brandon Rush, bro.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
dang, that's Brandon Rush. And like I said, I came in wet behind my ears, man. Like,
Right.
I'm like, every time he plays somebody big, I'm like, yo, that's such and such.
Yeah.
Yo, that's such and such. Like, yo, that's such and such. Like, that's like, dang,
Wow.
that's such and such. Like, so for me, I had to take it in. So then after that, like going in my sophomore, junior, and senior year, like
Yeah.
it wasn't the same effect. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
At that point, I'm like, I'm on the court with you now.
All right.
But my freshman year, I barely played, so I could be like, damn, that's such and such.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But after that, like I started my sophomore, junior, and senior year, so like my mindset was totally different.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that. So like going into your sophomore year, what was like you said you start to start on that sophomore year. Did you do anything over the summer or Like, did you do anything to prepare yourself, or did coach tell you something you need to work on going in the summer, or how does that go? Be like preparing yourself to be a starter on the D1 level.
So they fired Tubby, or the Tubby Smith stepped down after my freshman year.
Wow.
So we got our new coach 3 weeks before school was out.
Ish.
So the new coach comes in. He's not really a fan of me.
Mhm.
I mean, he is, but he's not. Like, he's
Yeah,
not gun ho about me. Like, he'll compliment everybody else around me, but me, right?
for sure.
Especially like we'll have a workout, and I'll be like, "Man, I just killed him." And you talk about how good his workout was, but you wouldn't say nothing to me.
For
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? That was the treatment I was getting.
Right.
And as now that I'm older, I recognize they treat players like that they want to transfer. They can't tell you I want you to transfer, but what they can do is make it seem like you don't exist, that you're unwanted, that you decide to transfer,
For sure.
right? I don't know how it is now. That was back in 2007, but
Yeah.
they couldn't tell you like I want you to transfer or I don't want you here. They can't do that. They couldn't do that.
Right.
Um, so what they would do was they'll just ignore you, right? Ignore
Mm.
you, make it seem like you're not even there, barely
Wow.
talk to you, so that that was the treatment I was getting. So, um, I was talking to my parents about it, and they were like, we can call such and such. You want to call Georgetown? You want to call Florida State? You want to see if USC got a spot? And I was just like, nah, like I don't want to transfer.
Mm.
And so like when I came back during the summer, we had the summer workouts. I just worked hard, right? I just worked hard. I wasn't the most talented. Um, I wasn't the most skilled either. I just worked hard.
Right.
So then it got to the point where when we came back for the fall and we started having official practice, I felt like couldn't he couldn't do nothing but respect my work ethic.
Sure.
Right. He didn't like me as far as like, oh, this is the guy I recruited. I want him to be here. But I just worked so hard that I felt like he just was like, man, I gotta respect it.
Right.
Because I wasn't gonna quit. No matter how hard he made it for me. Like he would do stuff to make me want to quit, but I would never quit.
For sure.
Like I remember I came to practice and I ain't have no practice gear.
Mm.
Everybody else had practice gear, but I ain't have no practice gear. So I had to practice in my own stuff, my own shorts, my own shoes, my own socks.
Oh, as in they just purposely took it just to
Yeah,
try to get in your head.
like it was orders to not give me my practice gear.
Mm.
Everybody else had practice gear but me,
Mm.
right? So like I went through stuff like that as a sophomore, trying to earn my right on a team with a new coach that don't really want me there,
Mm.
right? Like if I would have, excuse me, if I would have told him, "Oh yeah, I'm thinking about transferring," he'd probably be like, "I think that would be a good idea," but I
Mm.
never had that conversation with him.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like I never had that conversation with him or be like, dang, coach, why you won't talk to me? Or why, you know what I'm saying? Like I never had that
Right.
conversation. I just showed up
Wow.
and worked hard. Okay, you're not gonna give me my practice gear? Okay, cool.
Wow.
And that's the thing I went through. So then what's so crazy is our first exhibition game, we had practice and they asked him like who's gonna be the starting five tomorrow?
Mm.
And so he gave off the names and it was me. So
Mm.
the reporters like started like coming my direction. So I'm looking like, is somebody next to me? Like, and they coming, Ramon. I'm like, y'all want to talk to me? Mind you, I barely played my freshman year, so
Right.
nobody wanted to talk to
Right.
me.
Right.
So then I'm like, I'm looking like, what y'all got going on? Oh, Ramon, um, we just talked to coach. He said if he had to get the starting five, he would start you at the three, at the small forward
Wow.
position. So my response was like, what? Mind you, I've never been like I'm on a whole new stage, so I don't know media etiquette. You know what I'm saying?
For
Like
sure.
I don't know how
For
to.
sure.
So I'm like, what? Man, y'all lying. Because the whole time the whole time he treated me like he didn't want me here. They're like,
Yeah.
no. He said that he's gonna start you at small forward tomorrow.
Wow.
So I'm like, what? Like I'm confused. So they asked me questions and they're like, well, if it's true, how does it feel? I'm like, man, it feels great. Thank God, da da da. Like, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
so the next day we come in, everybody dressed up for the game. He go over matchups, right? So point guard, such and such, you got here. Shooting guard, this is what he like to do. Make sure we da.
Mm.
Right? So then he goes to the center. He skips the small forward position. He goes to center. Oh
Wow.
yeah, such and such you got here. Power forward, da da da. You gotta keep him off the boards. All he like to do is rebound and da da da. So then
Yeah.
he write my name. Then he gets to small forward. He write my name and who I matched up with. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm starting for real, right? So I'm
Yeah.
like, mind you, the guy that I'm starting over is a senior. Could have went to
Wow.
the NBA out of high school
Mm.
by the name of Joe Crawford.
Okay.
If you know him, he was in the dunk contest with Candace Parker at the McDonald's All-American game.
Right.
He kept missing his dunks, but I'm like, yo, this dude is a first round draft pick.
Mm.
Like in my mind, I'm like, he should be starting,
Right.
right? So I'm like, yo, I'm starting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, hold on, I'm starting. And so that's what clicked in my mind. I was like, shoot, hard work pay off.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? It paid off. So after that, I went through my bumps and bruises. I barely played as a freshman, so my sophomore
Right.
year was a lot of bumps and bruises.
For sure.
Um, I had high moments, I had low moments,
For sure.
but I just worked hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
on the team with guys as McDonald's All Americans, Jordan Brand All Americans, NBA draft picks,
Right.
guys that could have went out of high school, and I was a kid from Alaska that just worked hard.
Wow. That's great. That's great. That's a great. You got any questions?
Yeah. So once your sophomore year, you get there, you're starting. Do you feel like you kind of got a groove on everything that's going on, going into like, your junior, your senior year? Do you feel more accustomed to everything?
Yeah. So like I said, from the start of the season to Christmas break was a huge adjustment being a starter, right?
Right.
That was my bumps and bruises time period. Because I didn't really have much of it my freshman year. I came in halfway and I barely played, so I didn't have time to adjust per se.
Right.
Um, then my sophomore year, I'm starting, so now I'm like looking over my shoulder every time I made a mistake.
Mm.
He finna sub me out. And then we watch film. Oh, he pointed out everybody's mistakes, but even though he's pointing out everybody else's mistake, mine just seemed louder to me, right? So I'm like, dang, I'm about to lose my starting position. Next game, Ramon's still starting. I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, man, in my mind, I'm thinking like, I'm messing up.
Mm.
I'm doing good things, but I'm messing up. So in my
Yeah.
mind, I'm like, man, my leash is short.
Mm.
Um, but he kept starting me, like
Wow.
game after game after game after game. And there was a couple games he didn't start me, but I was like the first dude off the bench,
Right.
right? So I'm like, man, he's steady playing me. And I'm like, but this man, like, he still won't talk to me. He'll
Mm.
avoid talking to me, everything, but he starts me and he playing me a lot. So I'm like to me, that was like a mind game. Like
Mm.
you starting me and I'm playing a lot.
Mm.
To you won't say two words to me during practice, or whatever. Like you won't talk to me unless it's an awkward moment where it's like me and him walking down the hallway, like coming this way, and he has
Mm.
no choice but to say hello. And even then, sometimes he wouldn't speak.
Mm.
He'll act like he on his phone or something.
Right.
But then when the game start, I'm in the starting five. Like, bro, what? Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Um, But then, like, once we started SEC play my sophomore year, it was like something clicked. Right, a light bulb came off, something clicked, and I started elevating. My play started elevating to the point to after my sophomore year, my name was on the draft board, and I was
Oh,
surprised at that too.
okay.
Because I remember my parents telling me because my goal was always I'm gonna go to the NBA after my junior year, right? And so after my sophomore year, my parents was like talking to me, see where my head was at. And I'm like, why are y'all asking me these questions? Like, and so they pulled out the paper and it was like, your name's on the draft board. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, your name's on the draft board. I'm like, hold on. So I look at the paper and they got me 34 to Minnesota. Mind you, this
Oh,
is super early. So this is summer after the 2008 draft. Yeah,
mhm.
2008 draft. So, they got the 2008 draft and then like 2 weeks
Yeah.
later, they got the projected draft picks for the next year, for
Yeah.
2009. So I said 34 to Minnesota. I'm like, wait, what?
Mm,
Because I didn't think I had a year to grab that attention. You know what I'm
right.
saying? I'm like 34 to Minnesota. I'm like, wait, whoa, wait a minute. Like,
Oh,
dang, that's crazy. So then, like, going from there, my mind, like, now I've been in college a couple of years. I've matured a little bit. Um, I matured academically. I matured athletically. And then, when you got a whole year starting under your belt, you kind of walk, like, you know what I'm saying? Your confidence is up.
sure.
So coming into my junior year, like, um, I knew I would be starting. I just worked on my game at that point. Because mind you, after my freshman year, I went from 6'5" to 6'8"
Wow.
in one summer. So coming in my sophomore year, I was just trying to figure out my body. Like,
For
you know
sure.
what I'm saying? Like, it's different trying to dribble the ball through cones at 6'5" than it is at 6'8", and
Sure.
those type of adjustments and stuff like that. Excuse me. So um, it was just a learning, like my whole college time was a learning experience
Wow.
on and off the court, like just learning experience, like going through different changes. And then by the time my senior year came, like I was like, my mind was like, man, I'm ready to go pro. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I was like, man, I just want to play good enough to go pro.
Right. I'm curious though, those sophomore year and junior years that you said that you started to play a lot. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
know you played with like a NBA vet and Patrick Patterson, and y'all. It seemed like y'all were starting in the front court a lot. Like, did y'all? How was it like playing with somebody like of that? Like, how was that playing with him in terms of like were y'all able to play off each other and things of that nature?
Um, Specifically Patrick Patterson.
Yeah, or just
That was my boy in college.
yeah,
Like even now to this day, we still cool. Um, when Pat came in my sophomore year, I felt like a freshman because I barely played. I came in half a year. He
right.
came in D1 ready, right?
Okay.
He came in like everybody knew after our first scrimmage, like yeah, he gonna be our starting power forward,
Wow.
right? Everybody knew it. Like you could see his talent level. He was projected a top 10 pick after his, you know what I'm saying? So it was like
For
we
sure.
saw it after the first scrimmage, like, oh yeah, he's a top 10 pick, right?
For sure.
Um, so even playing with him, he made the game easier because he demanded so much attention.
Right.
And the way he played like a beast. So there was times on the court, I'd be like, God dang, like forgetting that I'm in the game, right? Like he was one of those players, like you see him do stuff, you'd be like, dang, like, get back on D. Like there's been multiple times where I forgot that I was in the game because I see him do some stuff and I'll be like, how did he do that?
Yeah.
Right. So it just got to the point to dynamic like I said, it was a learning curve. It was an adjustment. Like I had to learn how to be a starter, how to play with draft picks, how to play with guys that's projected, learning my role. What can I do to stand out? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was constant my whole college career.
For sure.
Um, and then like I said, like I grew from 6'5" to 6'8" in one summer. So I'm still trying to figure out, okay, am I still growing? Like, am I like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay,
Right.
now I got to learn how to play basketball at 6'8" and 6'5", which
Mm.
is like it doesn't sound crazy until like you go through it. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to develop a whole new game,
Sure.
most likely, because now you're taller. So that means when you dribble the ball, you got to get lower. When you make moves, you got to get lower.
Right.
Your speed, like your change of pace is different now. So there's like so much I had to learn, and I was learning game by game. Like I was learning during the game,
Mm.
and so it got to the point to where, um, my sophomore year, like I said, once the SEC tournament, like SEC play came,
Right.
like by that time, like it was like a light bulb went off, and it's like I knew my role, I knew what I would do. I was going to lock up on defense, and I was going to score. I was going to score a little bit on offense, right?
Right.
I was athletic, I was fast, and I was tall, so I was guarding point guards.
Right.
So like
Ah,
when the starting lineup come out, I'm guarding the starting point guard, but I'm 6'8", 218, and then I I knew I was doing something because I remember we were playing Arkansas. Yeah, we was playing Arkansas, and the coach called a play, and it's one of the plays that we were going over in practice.
mm-hmm.
So when the coach told me when they call that play, don't let him go right, force
Mm.
him left.
Okay.
So when I heard it, the coach was like, I forgot what the play called, but let's call it Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, Oklahoma, Oklahoma. It clicked in line. Oh, that's the play. Force him left. So the whole way up the court, I wouldn't let him go right.
Right.
So I did it multiple times. And the coach was like, man, bring the ball over here. Dog. Like the coach was fussing at him because he couldn't get the ball
Mm.
over.
Yeah.
So my teammate was at the free throw line. He said, hey, big dog, where you from? I said, Alaska. He said, you from Alaska? I said, yeah. He said, man, he said, damn. And in my mind, it was like, oh, you gained his respect,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and the coach was fussing. I'm like, man, da, da. He like, coach, man, I'm trying, but he won't let me. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, so I was like, oh, I'm really disruptive out here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that in that moment, so then now I was carrying that the rest of my college career, like, oh, I'm really disruptive out here on the defense.
Wow.
So that's how like the transition came for me. Because I would have dudes like I'm playing against, like, bro, like, or like a dude fussing with his teammate, hey man, run the play. He'd be like, man, I'm trying, but he da da da. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like blaming me for why their play is not working.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, oh, I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? Like I got him flustered. So I'm finna stick to him. Like, you know what
Right.
I'm saying? And then and I remember we were sitting in our lounge area where all the food was, and we were watching. I think we was watching like Kansas play somebody. They were playing the night before us. Kansas was playing somebody, and you know, like during the little commercial breaks, they give you a preview who plays tomorrow.
Sure.
So I broke my foot.
Mm.
Um, I broke my foot my sophomore year,
Mm.
and I was just coming back.
Okay.
Right, I was just coming back same year. I partially broke it. If they said if I would have took one more step, I would have completely broke it. But um, I partially broke my foot, so I didn't have to get surgery. I just had to rehab, train, like we just rehab it. So I remember I just started practicing with the team again, and they gave a preview of us playing somebody the next day.
Mm.
And Dick Vitale was like, "Yeah, Kentucky's playing such and such. Oh, and Kentucky also gets Ramon Harris tomorrow."
What?
Bro, I'm sitting there. Mind you, imagine you just sitting there eating your food, watching the
Yeah.
game, and then they go, "Oh yeah, Kentucky plays such and such tomorrow, and also Kentucky gets Ramon Harris back."
What do you do?
I looked up at the TV. I looked around. My teammates was like, "Oh, you big time now." I was like, "Did he just say my name?" Because mind
Yeah.
you, my coach is not. He barely talking with me. He's
Right.
been messing with my head all preseason.
For
Then
sure.
he starts me. Then I break my foot.
Yep.
I broke my foot like the third or fourth game of the season.
Wow.
A stress fracture. So, you know what I'm saying? Like I just started starting. I break my foot.
Oh,
I'm in a boot, can't walk for at least a month.
mm,
Then I gotta relearn how to walk, let alone how to run, let alone how to play basketball. You know what I'm saying?
at
Like,
D1 level, at that.
yeah, let alone at the D1 level. And then my first game back, DQV mentioned me on national TV. Man,
Wow.
listen, when I tell y'all, like, I be like, yo, people wouldn't believe me when I tell like all this stuff. They wouldn't believe me
Yeah,
because it sounds like a movie, but it's like real life. This is my life, and this is why I be so grateful and thankful. Jeremiah, you see me at work, I be chilling, I
sure.
be laid back, I be
Yes.
cool. I speak to everybody because when I think about like my life, like yo, I really live.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm really living the movie. So for me to come in here and be ungrateful every day, like it's baffling.
Yeah. No,
You know what I'm saying? So
that's
that's
real.
why you be like, Moan, what up? You good? Like I speak, you see me, I speak to everybody, I
Yeah.
talk to everybody because I'm like, yo, I really been through some stuff and I
Gratitude.
really made it through. So I'm grateful. Every day I'm
Yeah.
grateful.
No, that's great. That's great. You got there you go. All right. So sophomore year, um, you explained that it went pretty well. I mean, besides, the situation with the coach and everything, and you know,
Mhm.
so junior year, it seemed like you also played a lot too as well. So was there anything your foot's pretty much healed? Was that so? Ooh, that might be something else. Like, how was it? So coming back from your foot injury, you were like pretty much fully healed, right? Like there was no, because I know sometimes you may hear, I mean, I just hear, I don't know for sure. Like, sometimes athletes may rush back and things of that nature, but you would consider yourself, you was like fully ready to go, pretty much.
Yeah, for the most part. My
Yeah.
junior year was full of injuries. I had a
Mm,
spinal contusion. I had a heart issue.
mm,
I had a sprained MCL my junior year. So my whole junior year was full of injuries. Mind you,
yeah.
I had my sophomore year, I broke my foot, but I came back
Right.
like in a month and a half.
Right.
Let's say 2 months. I came
Mm,
back. I finished out my junior year. And in my junior year, my name's on the draft board. I mean sophomore year, excuse me. Finish out my sophomore year. Into my sophomore year, my name's on the draft board. I go through my junior year. I have multiple injuries my junior year.
wow.
Right. I have a spinal contusion. I sprained my MCL in the preseason.
Mm,
And then and then I had my heart issue.
right.
Um, all in my junior year.
Wow.
So now my junior year, like I'm not don't think about the draft,
Right.
right? You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I go through my junior year. I still have great moments my junior year, but it was more plagued by injuries than anything.
Mm, for sure.
Um, so then they fired that coach after my junior year, and now Coach Cal comes in.
Right.
My senior year, Coach Cal comes in. So I'm still like, okay, he's about to be my third coach in 4 years.
Mm,
And I already went through the process of getting a new coach and him not liking me.
right.
I'm about to be a senior. I don't want to go through that. I don't want
Mm,
to go through my senior year trying to prove myself to another coach that really don't want me. So, having those conversations, like, transfer conversations,
mm,
transfer where, um, and then at this time, my my daughter is born.
right.
So my daughter's born summer 2009 in July 2009.
Wow.
And I'm like, I got a new coach. So I'm like, I can't have a daughter and then transfer,
Mm,
right?
right.
And then it's like, okay, I got this new coach, Coach Cal. He coming in. He changing the whole roster.
Mm,
Like they gave him freedom, right? So I'm sitting in my parents' house, end of the summer. after summer school, end of the summer, they give us a little break before school starts again.
Right.
So I'm sitting there. I got my daughter with me. She's only a few months old. Um, my parents, we just sit and watch TV. My phone rang. It's one of the assistant coaches. And I looked at my mom. I looked at my dad, and they were like, "Who is it?" And I was like, "It's Coach such and such." So I answered the phone. Hello. Hey Ramon, what's going on? What you doing? I'm like, nothing much. Sitting with the fam. Oh yeah, hey, can you come to the office? Coach Cal want to talk to you. I'm like, right
Mm.
now? They're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, I'm like 20 minutes away. The whole way I'm driving, I'm nervous because in my mind, I'm like, they gonna tell me like, because I've already heard stories of like Cal having one-on-one meetings and basically telling them it's probably best in your best interest to transfer, right?
Right.
So now I'm like, shoot, he told me to transfer. It's already August. Like, what school am I going to go to? What school is going to be interested in me this late in the ball game? Like,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, shoot, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna call Florida State. I'm gonna call USC. Like, I'm just gonna see who will take me, right?
Mm.
So I go in. I had the meeting. Coach Cal sit down. He go, hey Ramon, how you doing? How's your family? And me, like, I already you just get straight to it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't
Sure.
ask me how the fam doing. Don't ask me like
Yeah.
how am I doing? How is my
Yeah.
day? Like, just tell me why I'm here. Right.
Yeah.
So Coach Cal, he goes, okay, how do you feel about your summer? I said, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about it. I said, adjusting. You're bringing in a whole new style. The last coach was defensive minded. You're a little more offensive minded. You give a little more freedom. I said that was the adjustment for me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
having freedom offensively, da da da, da, like breaking it down. He goes, well, I
Sure.
thought you had a great summer. He was like, I know I've been making some changes, but I want you to stay.
Mm.
And I'm like, wait, what? He's like,
No.
yeah, I want you to stay. He was like, I can't promise you a starting spot, but I see you as a top seven, top eight guy on this roster.
There you go.
Mind you, yeah, Coach Cal was asking me, like, well, he's telling me, like, I'll give you a chance to, um, compete for the starting job, but I see you as a guy, as like, sixth, seventh, or eighth guy on this roster.
For sure.
Like I said, we got John Wall, Eric Bledsoe, um, Patrick Patterson, Daniel Orton, Demarcus Cousins. That's five guys right there. And
Yeah.
then, we got guys like DeAndre Liggins, as well as myself,
Wow.
a guy named
Yeah.
Perry Stevenson. The names go on and on. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he
Mm.
was like, mind you, last year you were a starting guy on a losing on a downhill schedule, like a downhill season that you guys had.
Right.
And you can be a guy. You could be the you could either be a starter or the six or seven guy
For sure.
on a team competing for the national championship.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh well, when you put it like that, yeah. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
For sure.
this roster is put together to try to win a national championship.
Right.
Cool. And I could be a guy I could be a focal point of that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, cool. So we go from there. And so now, like, driving back to my parents' house, I'm feeling better. Like I said, I just had my daughter.
Right.
Um, my parents is there. I've been there for 3 years now. Like, it's my senior year. Everything that I think about how I want my senior year to go, I'm like, okay, this sounds good. Because last thing I want to do is try to find a school this late in the summer
Right.
and try to figure out where I can go, X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. So,
I'm curious though, before we get into the basketball,
mm,
because y'all had a great senior year. But
mm,
um, so you've been through college up until this point. I say 2.5 times because of half of your freshman year.
right.
But so you know about the classes, you know about, your workout schedule, your practice schedule. How do
Mm.
you incorporate your daughter into that process? Just like,
Man,
did you try to like? I mean, you did the best you could. Like, how did you? The,
Um, man, listen, that was a whole thing in itself.
okay,
You know what I'm saying? Like that was a whole thing in itself because, um, at that point, I felt like I made a name for myself on the college level. It
sure,
might not have been where I wanted to be, but I'm like, man, my name's been mentioned. They're like I've done this, I've done that, like, so I'm like, man, I've done some things at the college level, and so like now I'm like, shoot, we got a team that could go to the national championship, right?
sure.
So then, like you said, then how you incorporate being a father, like that was tough in itself.
Mm,
Another adjustment of my teammates going to the mall to buy clothes, and I'm going to buy formula and diapers.
talk about it.
I mean, that's really what it was. I remember um, preseason, Coach Cal was like, we had a great week of practice, competing, playing hard. And he was like, man, he was like, I was gonna give y'all the weekend off, but y'all earned it. It was like
Mm,
a Friday morning practice.
wow.
So it was like 12 o'clock. He was like, he was like, I don't want to see nobody. It's like, y'all enjoy y'all weekend. I'll
Wow.
see y'all Monday morning.
Mm,
So at the time, my daughter and her mother were living about 45 minutes away from the school.
for sure.
So, everybody, sitting down eating, talking about, man, shoot, let's go to the mall. Let's go out tonight. Da da da. Like, hey, y'all trying to go do this? Like, they making plans. And I'm like,
Mm,
shoot, man, I got this time off. I ain't seen my daughter in a minute. Shoot, I'm finna go go to Walmart, get some diapers, get some formula, get some onesies, and I'm
for
about to
sure.
make this drive to go see my daughter. So I spent the weekend with my daughter, but you know what I'm saying? Like that was the
Yeah,
adjustment.
gotcha.
Instead of going to
Okay.
buy sneakers and going to buy shoes and stuff like that,
All right.
I was buying formulas and diapers and trying to and getting my daddy daughter time. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
real.
Not that it's a bad thing, but it helped me. Um, it helped my maturity. It helped my development. And like I tell people all the time, like my daughter saved my life. Like, you know what
Mm,
I'm saying? Like she don't even know it. She's probably heard it a few times now. But my daughter saved my life because when I think about me starting my pro career, I had to do things because based upon me being a father.
mm,
So there were certain things like, oh no, I can't. I need to go home and call my daughter, or you know, incorporating how I'm living life because I'm a father.
right.
Coming in professionally playing pro ball, you getting this money, you getting this freedom, you getting this time. It's easy to get in
Mm,
trouble, right? But for
yeah.
me, it was like, okay, I got to incorporate. Okay, I need to go back and see my daughter and spend some time with her, or I need to make sure I get this and that for her. You know what I'm saying? Like it made me think differently. So now it wasn't like my free time is my free time.
For sure.
My free time was her free time. If
Our
that
free
makes sense.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was our
I,
time like that. My free time was her time. You know what I'm
I
saying?
love that.
So that's what made, and I think that she's like a huge reason why I was able to have my career because
Mm,
I really think if I didn't have my daughter and I went into professional basketball, I would have had too much free time.
mm,
I would have
wow.
had too much free time. And it's different when like the people you hanging out with, other pros, is like, yo, we going here this weekend. We finna go do this, da da da. Come on. And I'm like, I gotta go see my daughter.
Right.
Other than not having those responsibilities and then having that free time to go do whatever, you know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like me having my daughter made me disciplined. Not that I
wow.
didn't go out or I didn't have fun, but I didn't do that as much as I could have if I didn't have a child.
Mm,
If that makes sense.
no, that's real. That's
Because
real.
when you have those responsibilities, like you think differently. Okay,
Yeah.
I got this amount of money, but I know I got to put something aside for this,
Right.
right? So instead of buying two, three pairs of shoes, I might not go at all. Or I might just
Right.
buy one, knowing that I need the money for this, not only for this month, but for next month. You know what I'm saying? Like,
For sure.
or I know, okay, I'm gonna be around for the next 2 months, but I'm not gonna see her for 3, 4, 5 months. So, okay, I need to have money to the side because if she need formula, diapers, whatever, I can just get what's necessary. So it
That's real.
kind of made me grow up quicker.
That's real. That's real. So that season, Coach Cal's first season,
Mm.
going back more to the basketball side, just I mean, this may be a loaded question, but how was that season? Y'all went, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, 36, 37-3 on the whole season. Undefeated at home. Is that correct?
Yeah, we don't lose at home.
Wow. So like what clicked? Like I mean, that's an incredible record. Like what from your perspective, just what clicked? Did Coach Cal bring in? Was like what was it?
um, he brought in a new dynamic. He brought in new players. He brought
Okay.
in a new system. He brought in a new excitement as well.
Okay.
Cal brought in a new excitement, not only for the players but for the fans.
Mm,
And when that excitement translates to the court and we were winning, it was like a snowball effect. It just made everything easier as time went on. And
mm,
then so now us as players and teammates, we're clicking, we're getting along. You know what I'm saying? Like practice is competitive, but it's competing at a high level. So then when we go in the game, our mentality is different.
right,
Like in a game, we talking to each other differently as time goes on in the game. Not that we were fussing and arguing, but now that talk, that lingo back and forth is totally different.
right,
Now we're doing things and addressing each other and holding each other accountable and this and that. So now that's translating from game to practice, practice to
right.
game to practice, practice to game. And then um, we beat UConn in the Garden. That was a big game for us early in the season.
Oh,
We beat North Carolina. We beat Louisville. We beat Stanford when they had Larry Fitzgerald. We win the tournament in Mexico.
wow.
Like we winning. You know what I'm saying? So like we not Larry Fitzgerald. Is it Larry Fitzgerald?
Uh, Stanford, Larry.
Is it,
I
is
don't know. I gotta
it,
think
is
about
it
that one.
Fitzgerald? But he played for the Knicks. He got drafted by the Knicks after that year.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. It might not be Fitzgerald, but
Yeah, I think Larry Fitzgerald, a football player. But yeah,
yeah, Larry Fitzgerald's a football player. But
Larry.
like we
Yeah,
we beating
I got
dudes
you.
and we're beating teams. And then
Mm,
so like we go into we playing these schools, like I said, UConn, Jerome Dyson, Kimball Walker,
yeah,
like big names. You know what I'm
right,
saying? We come in, we beat them, we beat, North Carolina, we beat Louisville.
right.
You know what I'm saying? We beating these schools, and it's like, okay, it's not only like we beating them, but we like beating them pretty good. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah,
and so then we, like I said, then we won the tournament in Mexico. And so it's like translating on and on
yeah.
and on. And like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just growing. And then, because like I'm trying to think of the 3 games we lost. We lost one to South Carolina. That was a
Hmm.
game like we knew. And then I think we lost one to Tennessee.
Okay,
Yeah. We lost at South Carolina. We lost at Tennessee.
right.
But those 2 games, like what was so crazy was the South Carolina game we lost, it was just weird. It was just weird that whole day.
Mm,
Right? You know what I'm saying? It was just weird. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Even when I was on the court, we were playing. It just seemed like we wasn't syncing. We weren't clicking. Like it just seemed weird.
mm.
Um,
Was
so
it
we
just a
lost
bad?
that.
It just wasn't. There's nothing you could explain. That's just what it was.
Yeah, it was just one of them bad. Like it was like one of them off days. Like we were just all
Okay,
off. Right?
okay.
Even like when we came back to win the game, one of my teammates stole the ball at half court and he missed the dunk
Wow.
by himself. So it was just like one of
Yeah,
them days. Like we just couldn't get right.
yeah.
So then we win more games and we get back to it, and then we play at Tennessee. And playing at Tennessee is a tough game.
Sure.
And it was so weird. We usually drive to Tennessee because it's like a 3 hour drive. We flew, which was like a 45 minute flight.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? We just flew in,
Yeah.
and then we played the game. Well, we were there the night before. We played the game. We flew right back. Like
Right.
normally we would bus. So it was like, okay, we lost that game. But even when we lost the Tennessee game, it still wasn't like, oh, dang, we lost. Like we gotta get this together. Like we lost, and it was
Right.
like, because even Coach Cal said, yeah, we lost and we got to fix some things. He said, but I'll tell you this, I feel sorry for the next team we play. And we beat the mess out of the next team we played. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then we got to the SEC tournament. We won the SEC tournament. So it was like
Right.
check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So then it was so crazy when we played the NCAA tournament. We played East Tennessee State first. We beat
Mhm.
them. And then we played Wake Forest and ended up beating them. And then the next weekend we went to Syracuse.
Mm.
And the first game we played Cornell. And I remember they were trying to make it like the nerds versus the thugs.
Wow.
Like it was that was like the picture they were painting.
Sheesh.
Like these academic qualifying dudes, and this dude is he's qualified for this award academically. Like they try to make it seem like the
Yeah.
jocks versus nerds.
Yeah.
And I remember the energy going in that game, like that energy was crazy, right?
Mm.
Coming from our locker room, like wasn't nobody joking around playing. Like we was very serious, because all we heard about is like the jocks versus the nerds, or you know what I'm saying? Like that's all we heard, and we like, dang, like what we do to y'all? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the Cornell game, you know, we handled business the Cornell game, but that was like a 9:15 tip, something like that. It was a late game.
Wow.
So we didn't leave the arena till like midnight, after midnight.
Sheesh.
So mind you, we left the arena after midnight. We went back to the hotel to have team meal. So that was like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It's that late. So we were still up. We had practice the next day. The practice we had wasn't that good.
Mm.
And then the day following that, we played West Virginia. And
Mm. Yeah.
we just, I think we were so excited about if we win this game, we go to the Final Four. Like
Right.
everything we had done was to get to this point.
For
So
sure.
when we played West Virginia, like it was just back and forth the whole game, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it got to the point to where like it was so tight and tense. And I think we
Right.
just kind of tensed up a little bit. So then yeah, we ended up losing in the Elite Eight to West Virginia.
Wow. And they had Joe Mazzulla on that team, right?
Yeah, they had Joe Mazzulla on that team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm curious. As a student, during that season, did you notice? Because I mean, y'all made I think y'all made the tournament your junior year, right? Is that correct?
No, we
Or
went to NIT my junior year.
your junior year? So
Yeah.
you jump from that to basically making an elite eight. Did you notice anything different on the campus? Was there a different energy, like
Oh
more
yeah.
fits for the basketball team? Like I don't know, like your
Man, it
perspective
was
on that.
crazy. So by the time we beat UConn going into Christmas break,
Okay.
we had people like sitting in their cars waiting for us to come outside. Yeah, like people were like literally sleeping in their cars
Oh,
waiting for us to come out the building where we stayed at so that they could get an autograph.
wow.
So it got to the point to where like we had to be escorted like on a golf cart to and from class,
Wow.
or because it's just like we was winning. Us and Kansas kept going back and forth as number one and number two in the country.
All right.
Um, so it was like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and we're winning. And mind you, we only lost 3 times that year, so we didn't lose. We didn't lose a game until like January, February,
Right.
and the season started before Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
October. Season started October, so we went from October to January, February, didn't lose a game.
Mm.
So you know what I'm saying? We just winning, winning, win. Oh, we won the game. Okay, back to work.
Sure.
Okay, we got a game coming up. Win that game. Back to work. You know what I'm saying? So like, it was like expectation that we had to win. We won. Like it got to the point like when we win a game, we wouldn't even like celebrate. We was just like,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? Like okay, we won. We happy in the moment. The next day, we right back to work. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So that kind of mentality, like that's why when we did lose the South Carolina game, Cal was mad, but he was mad because like we started 6 a.m. practices after that loss. But he was mad how we
Oh,
lost.
wow.
He was more mad that we lost because we didn't seem like we were locked in,
Mm-hmm.
right? We just looked out of place. We looked out of sync. When we lost the Tennessee game, he was like, "We lost, but
Yeah.
that's only our second loss of the season. Like, I'm not gonna go crazy,
Right.
right?" So then we had another game like 2 3 days later, and we was like right back to it. Win,
For
win,
sure.
win, 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 win. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
at that point in time, so yeah, like I said, that year was crazy. That was a movie in itself. That
Yeah.
whole year was a movie in itself too.
So it seemed like even with all that talent, with you and the rest of your teammates that Coach Cal had that year, like it
Mhm.
seemed like he did a good job of I mean, maybe not just him, maybe the whole coaching staff of just keeping y'all like locked in a sense
Yeah, they
to
did.
not getting
Yeah, they
like
did.
big headed, things like that.
Well, yeah. Well, one thing I will say about the young guys at the time, John Wall, Eric Bledsoe, Demarcus Cousins,
Yeah.
Daniel Orton, they all 18 years old. But even with them as a teammate, when you told them something, like
Hmm.
corrected them or whatever the case may be, it wasn't like, man, stop talking.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That wasn't the mentality that they had. When you talk to them and you're telling them something, not even telling something, even if you're congratulating them or whatever the case may be, they were real level headed. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? But that was also earned out of respect of practices and scrimmages and in game situations and blah blah blah. Like it really got to a point to where like we held each other accountable. You know what I'm
That's it.
saying? Like, and they weren't above that. They didn't hold themselves above that as well. Like when they was getting coached and they was messing up or somebody told them they're wrong, they took it on the chin. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like we won how we won, even with us being a whole new team, because they never like, man, you barely play. Don't talk to me.
Mm.
Like that was never their energy. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So we just built chemistry over time. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
then uh, I hate that we lost that game in
Right.
West Virginia, but you know what I'm saying? Like I said, to go from the east side of Anchorage, Alaska to the Elite Eight,
Come on
I'll
now.
take it. I'll take it.
Come on. What you got?
Uh, so then now, once your senior year's over, now it comes to the
Yeah.
next chapter, that NBA draft. How did kind of like those pre pre-draft workouts happen in that recruiting?
Uh, my pre-draft situation was a little crazy.
Yeah.
Um, I had an agent. My first agent. Um, it didn't work out how it should have.
Yeah.
I say it like that. Um, but I had some pre-draft workouts, and even was told I'll get picked in the second round. Um, and that didn't fall through. But also knowing at that time my agent wasn't completely honest with me as well.
Mm.
Um, so going through that whole draft process was different as well. But for me, I wasn't expected to get drafted per se because of how my stats were, but I
Mm.
was still believing a miracle could happen just based upon what I've been through, right? And then when I was
Sure.
going through the draft process, um, like I have a couple phone conversation with teams, and they were like, we understand this, and that. We understand that you had three coaches in college. Like we understand, this and that, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? So like that's where the optimism came from. Because when I would talk to teams, the stuff that I was worried about, they were basically addressing like, we're not worried about.
Mm.
Like
Okay.
we've seen you enough to know, like, you can do this and you can do that and you can help us with this, blah, blah, blah. Right.
Gotcha.
So that was the conversation I had. So it made me optimistic. But when I didn't hear my name called, I wasn't surprised. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm understanding that how this works. right? Now there were some guys I'm like, man, I killed him when I worked out with
Yeah.
him, right? Like I killed him in a workout, and that team drafted. So that's why I
Mm,
was like, okay, I see what's going on. I see
yeah.
how it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could have and should have played better my senior year. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like I started taking accountability more than anything. Like I should have did this better. I should have did that better. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, so then after that, I went to Houston undrafted, and when I went to Houston, I gained the eyes of the coaches and the people there. So um, I was just coming in just to be a face to a name, to constantly get invited to come back week after week. So I'm like, shoot, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So, um, and at the time, Patrick Patterson was drafted by the Rockets. So, he was kind of hearing things like, oh, Ramon, they really like you. Like, Ramon, you really impressed this person. Like, Ramon, they say you this, and that, blah, 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 right? So it got to that point to where, like I said, I'm impressing these people that I'm just like, dang, I'm still here in Houston. Like I'm coming in through the player access. The security know me by first name basis. Like, I
mm,
got access. So then I'm talking and they're like, well, I'm having conversations with them bringing me to camp. So then I find out last minute, like we got 16 guys
mm.
on already on contract and we can only have 15. So we're only going to bring in the 16 guys because we need to figure out what we're going to do with this one extra contract. So I ended up not going to training camp in 2010. So I go to the G League and then I end up going to Venezuela and I end up going to China.
Mm.
So the summer of 2011, I'm in China.
So was Venezuela your first? Was that considered? That's your first overseas team, pretty much.
Yeah, Venezuela
Okay.
was.
Was that considered your first time traveling outside, the United
Yeah.
States? And how
I had went
touch on that a little bit? Yeah.
I had went to Africa when I was in college, but that was my
Oh, okay.
first time that was my first time traveling out the country expecting to be there for a while,
Right.
if that
Right.
makes sense. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like when I went to Africa, it was like a basketball and missions trip.
Yeah.
So I knew I was gonna be gone, but I knew I was coming back by this time. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I was only gone for like 2, 3 weeks.
Right.
But going to Venezuela was like my first like professional job overseas, and like now I gotta really play to keep my contract.
Mm. And
Right?
yeah. So was that like pretty? How how was it just adjusting to just a whole nother country? If you could just touch on that, like just into a whole nother country, just into just your first pretty much pro team in
Mm.
another country. Like how was that? Just how'd you attack that?
Um, One, I was very, very excited. Two, I was very like um, unsure of what to expect
Right.
because I hear stories. I hear a bunch of stories about guys not getting paid, or guys showing up and the living conditions is terrible, or it's not what they said, or they feel stuck. Like I heard all the horror stories. So I'm
Right.
like, shoot, I'm in this new country. I don't know nobody. I gotta, I gotta hope that the people are who they say they are,
Mm,
and they show up and pick me up, and you know what I'm saying, and take care of me because I'm in a
mm,
whole new country. Like if they pick me up and drop me off in the middle of the street somewhere and take off, like I'm stuck,
right.
right? Um, so in my mind, I got the good thoughts and the bad thoughts. So I get to Venezuela. Um, Guy picks me up. He gives me something to eat. He takes me to the hotel. Tells me, hey, tomorrow morning I'm gonna pick you up this time for practice. Blah blah blah. Like you know what I'm saying, gives me the whole
Right.
rundown. So it goes pretty well. My first like year in Venezuela, like it's different now. Like now I'm a
Mhm.
pro.
For sure.
So now there's no classes, there's no like I just gotta show up and perform. And
Right.
if I don't, I'm getting sent home.
Right.
Right? Like it ain't no like oh, I'm on a scholarship, so you gotta keep me the whole year or whatever. Like now it's like
Yeah.
show up or get sent home. So that was different as far as now I'm a pro. Like why you signed me, I'm expected to do every day.
Mm.
Right? Like there's no learning curve
Right.
at this point. My first job in Venezuela, I was making 8,000 a month.
Wow.
So now when you're making 8,000 a month, it ain't no like explaining and giving you time. Like, no, either
Mm.
do it or you get sent home. So that
Right.
was adjustment for me. Um, I got sent home like the first month.
Mm.
Just it was, and the thing was is that they needed a big man, but the coach seen me play previously, so he wanted me on the team. But we
Right.
only had one. We only had one big man.
Mm.
So I can play big, but you wanted me to play big the whole game, like be a big man, like
Yeah.
that wasn't gonna work. So
Right.
I was with the team for 1 month, and then they sent me home because they needed a true big man.
Okay.
So I came home, um, and then um, that summer 2011, I went to China, and
Okay.
China was like my real like, okay, I'm a pro now.
Mm.
I went to China. I averaged 20 points a game. I had a 51-point game. You know what I'm saying? Like
51. Oh.
yeah, I had a 51-point game in China.
Wow.
Like I averaged 20 a game. Like that was like, okay, I'm a pro now. Like, you know what
Right.
I'm saying? And so then after that, summer 2012, I came back and I get a call. And Ramon, Houston saw what you did in China. They want you to come back and work out during the summer again.
Right.
Bet. So now Kevin McHale's the coach of the Houston Rockets. In my first week of trying working out, Kevin McHale like, who's this guy? Like I hear him asking about me. So I'm like, cool. Like I feel better. You know what I'm saying? Because I came
Sure.
in as like an extra body. Now I'm being asked about. And like every other day, our numbers get smaller and smaller. Like first we had 12 guys, now we only got nine. And now we only got seven. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
I'm noticing it. So I'm like, okay, as long as I keep being able to come in, I'm not gonna trip.
Right.
Um, so I go through the whole process. So Kevin McHale, before the draft, the 2012 draft, he comes to me, he goes, "Hey, you really impressed me and a lot of people in here." And he was like, "What's your plan?" I said, "I just want to go to camp." That's what I told him. I said, "I just want to go to camp."
Right.
He was like, "Well, I like you." He said, and it was the day before the draft. He said, "If we draft Cody Zeller from North Carolina, I'm gonna bring you in training camp, right?"
Mm.
But I also noticed earlier that day that Jeremy Lamb was in the building from
Mm.
UConn.
Right.
So I'm like, what he doing? Right? Like they only
Mm.
have like the 15th pick or something like that. Like the 14th pick. So I'm like, Jeremy Lamb ain't gonna fall. He ain't gonna fall all the way to 14.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, he a top 10 pick.
Right.
So he tells me after Kevin McHale tells me after work out, um if you draft Cody Zeller like I want, I'm gonna bring you in for training camp. So imagine me leaving the gym and I'm going to the crib to like watch the draft. Like
Right.
I'm tuned in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I just need Houston to draft Cody Zeller so I can go to training camp. Like, that's all you know what I'm saying? Like that's all
Yep.
And before the draft, oh, the Houston Rockets make a trade. They get the 8th, 14th, and 16th pick, or 16th and 18th pick, something like that. I'm like, oh, shoot.
Mm.
Because I'm like, they're not going to draft Cody Zeller at 8. Like, that's why Jeremy Lamb was in the building. Dang.
Right.
But I'm like, as long as but they still got, they can draft Lamb and still get Zeller, right?
Right.
I'm like, okay, cool. cool. You do that. So the draft come on, the eighth pick. I think it was the eighth pick. They picked Jeremy Lamb. Cool,
Mm,
whatever. Cool. He don't play my position. Cool.
sure.
They get up to the 16th pick, and I'm like, yo, just draft Cody Zeller. He comes out to say the name. I'm like, just draft Cody Zeller, just draft Cody Zeller, just draft Cody
Mm-hmm.
Zeller. They pick Royce White from
Iowa
Iowa
State.
State.
Yep. Wow.
And I go, oh my God. Royce White plays the 3-4 like me. That's not
Mm-hmm.
looking too good for me. And
That's interesting. Mm.
so then Dallas has the next pick.
Mm-hmm.
They pick Cody Zeller
Right.
and then try and trade him to Cleveland. So then now with the 18th pick, Kentucky picks up Terrence Jones
Mm.
from Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
3-4 like myself. I said,
No,
oh,
yeah.
that's not good. That's not good. They just drafted two guys that play my position.
Yep.
So the day after the draft, I I go back to the facility the next day, and the equipment guy, he see me in the locker room. He's just like, man, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's good. He was like, nah. He was like, this is your second time coming around,
Mm-hmm.
and they do you like this.
Yeah.
I was like, man, it happens. So then, come to find out, this is speculation, but this is rumors that I've heard that Houston knew that Dallas wanted Royce White. So instead
Mm.
of drafting Cody Zeller, they drafted Royce White so Dallas couldn't have him. So then
Mm.
Dallas knew that Houston wanted Cody Zeller. So they drafted Cody Zeller so that Houston couldn't have him, and they traded him to Cleveland because
Wow.
they knew that Houston and Cleveland wasn't going to make a trade.
Wow. That's how it go, huh?
And that's how I go, man.
Jeez.
So then even after that, I still stuck around for the summer because I'm like, I'm here, I might as well keep working out, blah, blah, blah. And
Right.
so when training camp came, when it came close to time in training camp, Kevin McHale was like, man, I really like you, but the office want to go a different direction. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, he liked me, but the GM didn't.
Yeah.
So the GM won.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's how that went. So I just went to the G League after that.
Right.
Played overseas in between. So I was overseas in G League back and forth. Um,
Right.
I was blessed to win a championship in the G League.
Yeah.
I set and then like we went back to the finals in the G League the next year, and I set like a finals record for most threes in a single game. I went
Right.
like 8 for 12.
About the G League though, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
like, I had in my mind. I mean, it's not. I don't really want to consider it a JUCO. Like, not JUCO in terms of, like, is it a JUCO type of environment in terms of like how,
No,
like, are players able to? Because like, see, everybody wants to get that call up, but are
mm-hmm.
you able to fully like develop a team if everyone's trying to get to that next level, or like did you come across any of that on your
Yeah,
journey?
for sure. Yeah, for sure. So I played in Fort Wayne, Indiana. My
Mm-hmm.
first year playing with them, we were the worst team in the league.
Okay.
We were the worst team in the league. We lost like 17 games straight. Like just crazy. Like we was the worst team in the league.
Right.
And so after that year I went to Germany and then I came back to the G League
Okay.
after a year and we ended up winning the championship that year. Um but the G League is made, it's supposed to be made for you to get a call up or get a bigger contract overseas. Like the G League wasn't
Right.
made for you to stay and make a career out of it. But the
For sure.
environment that I was in Indiana, they built an environment like if you're one of our people, you always have a home,
Mm.
right? So like it was like it turned into us being the worst team in the league to we won the championship to this is the expectation,
Right.
right? So then we ended up we won the championship, and then even that next year, like I came back, it was like okay, we here to handle business, right?
Mm.
So the environment we're in, we was in like at that point in time, like in Fort Wayne, like you can tell me nothing. I knew everybody I knew everybody who was somebody. You know what I'm saying? And they
Right.
knew me. Like it was like um I would like when family would come to town, they getting A1 treatment. They
Sure.
walking through the player entrance. They don't need a ticket. They getting VIP. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it
Oh,
was like a different type of standard that we
yeah.
had there. Um and that was all because of the owner and the GM. Like they even when we were the worst team in the league, we would still have a dinner every month and they would giving us a gift every month at the dinner. Whether it be a
Wow.
gift card or whether it be a Christmas bonus or like they treated us like we were the champions even when we was the worst team in the league.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
when we became the best team in the league, it wasn't a surprise because how they treated us. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Like we was going to a fancy dinner once a month and we was getting a gift card, cash, or something. Like they were gifting us every month,
Wow.
even though we were the worst team in the league.
I'm curious. So that season you mentioned the your championship in the G League. Like what
Mm-hmm.
just what was just like what like asked a similar question about, you mentioned you broke down the Kentucky and why y'all were winning so much. Like what was it? What got y'all to the championship pretty much? Like why like what was it in your opinion?
Our team chemistry. We had
Okay.
a mixture of blue collar guys, a mixture of crazy talented guys,
Okay.
and we had a mixture of guys that's been in the G League for a few years. So we had new talent, not necessarily old talent, but guys that's been there, veterans, new talent, high level talent, blue collar guys, and we all got along, which was what I wasn't used to in the professional setting.
Right.
When I say we all got along, like we all got along like we was a high school team, and like when I say we was cracking
Wow.
jokes on each other and we was doing pranks on each other and we was meeting up for lunch or for lunches or like, hey, yo, we all finna go get something to eat. Who trying to go to the movies? Like we did everything as a team,
Right.
right? So like our team chemistry was so crazy. Even like especially like when we were traveling, playing on the road, we were on the bus together, we were on the plane together. Like
Right.
we was always around each other,
Right.
always around each other. It was like nobody was like going to get something to eat by themselves. It'd be at least
Mm,
4 or 5 guys going to get something to eat. Oh, we finna go get something to eat. Who coming?
mm.
Where you going? Oh, we going here. All right, meet in the lobby in 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wow.
and they're like
Yeah.
8 people show up. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Like, so like we had that type of chemistry to where like it was so bad. So we started winning that championship year. We started winning early.
Mm.
So we lost the no, we started winning early. Yeah, we started winning early. And then as the season was going on, our GM made a couple trades and added a couple guys that we needed. He added a point guard and a big.
Okay.
He added them to our roster, and even them coming in, it wasn't like, okay, y'all the new guys. Like they came in and fit in right immediately,
Okay.
right? So they fit in immediately to the point to where we just elevate more. So we winning. So now the expectation is that we're winning. Like we're
For sure.
expecting to win. Um, and we were winning so much that it got to a point to where like our coaches was like, "What am I going to do with them in practice today?" Because we
Mm.
were holding each other accountable as well. Like,
Mm.
yo, if you're supposed to be that rotation, that is your rotation. Be here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear no excuses or what about this or that. Be here. So it got to the point where our coach, we were keeping each other accountable so much that there were certain things the coach didn't have to say,
Okay.
right? So like now, so then Sunday we was winning so much that our practices were like 30-minute individuals, 30-minute weight room, and then y'all do whatever y'all.
Mm.
because we were
Wow.
clicking and we were winning and we were holding each other accountable. And then, like, even going on the road, like, you would think we would have been tired of each other.
Right.
Even going on the road, we were still like, yo, what we doing? We gonna get something to eat
Yeah.
or are we ordering in? And then, like, if the game came on, we was all in the lobby or in the restaurant watching the game together. You know what I'm saying? Like, we
Wow.
were doing stuff together to the point to where the coaches was like, I mean, as long as y'all show up and play. So then we would show up and we would play.
Sure. So I hear you mention two things in terms of when I asked you about like I guess successful teams that you've been a part of. You mentioned personal accountability, like between the teammates, and then uh you mentioned what was the other one? Uh
Chemistry,
it was accountability and what was the other one? It was like
team chemistry.
chemistry. There you go, chemistry.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
one of the questions I had written down was since I like seen that you've been a part of a lot, like you've contributed to a lot of winning situations. High school, four state championships, the years y'all made a couple of NCAA tournaments in Kentucky, so that means y'all won some games. And then your G League championship. Like just if you could look back at those situations, like what's like, beside, are those really the only two things, chemistry and accountability, or is there more than that that we may be missing in terms of like the key to a winning formula? Like, what are the like what all winning teams have? Like, is there more than just
Yeah.
accountability and chemistry you could
Yeah,
think
there's
of?
more to it. Yeah, there's more to it. You gotta have talent.
Okay.
You gotta have work ethic.
Mm,
Because no matter how talented you are, if you as a team, if y'all don't work hard, you're
mm,
not gonna win much, no matter how talented you are.
mm,
Um, and then, like I said, you gotta have accountability. And accountability is not just the players.
mm.
There was an accountability from the owner
Oh,
to the GM to the coaches to the players to even the people who worked in the office or worked around the team. There was accountability and a standard, right?
wow.
So, prime example, the GM and co-owner, his name is Jeff Potter. His father-in-law was the owner,
Okay.
so he was partial owner and also the GM. They they held a standard. Like I said, even when we was the worst team in the league, we got team lunch at once a month, and we're gonna provide them with something once a month, right? Movie coupon, food coupon, cash, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
But the standard and that they did it when we was the worst team in the league, they did it when we were the best team in the league. Now, of course, when we're in the best team in the league, they're gonna spend a little more money. The restaurants got a little more fancier.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? The gifts got a little more expensive. But
Right.
it was like he would get on a player, he would get on a person if they didn't set up the arena right.
Mm,
If they didn't set up the arena right, or didn't put up the right poster, or they didn't do the right thing on social media, he was
mm.
on them like a player who missed a shot that he was supposed to make. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
he was like that with everybody. So everybody knew, okay, he can be a jerk sometimes, but I was at the same time, he was the same person when you did something right, he made sure he said something too, right? So it wasn't like he was just always pointing out the flaws, but he worked so hard that you respected it.
Mm,
And you saw it. He was at practices, he was at games. Even if he had to bring his kids with him, he was there. You know what I'm saying? And then he created this environment where, like, I got expectation, but if you do what you're supposed to do, I'll take care of y'all. So when you see it, you know that he just wasn't making up. He just wasn't saying something because he wants the team to win. It was like this is the environment. And so yeah, you need talent. You need guys that have ability to be coached.
Mm.
You need team chemistry as well. And
For sure.
accountability is a big part of it too, and you also need respect,
Mm.
you know,
Okay.
not just the players respecting the coaches, but the coaches respecting the players, and then the coaches respecting the owners, and the owners respecting the coaches, and then respecting. But like it was,
Got
like
you.
I said, it starts at the top. The owner respected everybody as long as you do your job. Hey, I like you, but if you're not doing your job, you're not doing your job, right?
Really? Yeah.
But even with that, it wasn't like, oh, do your job or go home.
Right.
They really allowed you to grow. Well, I'll speak for myself. They allowed me to grow into being a guy that barely played my first year with them, or I played because the guy in front of me was an all-star. So when he needed a break, I played,
Okay.
right? So then I went from that to being a starter, to being a guy, a face of the franchise, to being a guy that
Mm.
went out. Like I'm saying, like they allowed me to grow. So then I went from being a guy on the bench to
Right.
being a starter and winning a championship.
Mm.
All right. You know what I'm saying? So they allowed growth to happen.
Sure.
And so therefore it got to a point to where like now, like so in that time, my time span before when, like I said, I knew everybody knew me. Like when I got traded,
Mhm.
the city was upset.
Wow. I bet.
Yeah. So like
I bet.
I got traded the day like mid season, and it was the day before a game. At the game, I had people like texting me on social media saying like they were chanting my name because they were upset that I would got traded.
Wow.
So like during the timeout, they were chanting my name but I was also in the community as well.
Mm.
When I was out and
Gotcha.
about, when I was out and about, and people said they're a fan of the team, I took pictures, I signed autographs. Like I was never too big to take a moment.
Sure.
And then even after the games, I'm taking pictures with the kids. When I seen people like, that's part of being part of the professionalism too at that level. The community is the reason why you get a check for the most part.
Right.
If you don't have fans showing up to the game, even though you might get a check still, but them being engaged creates that environment, which creates new opportunity.
Mm. That's
So in
real.
Fort Wayne, when we was winning in Fort Wayne, man, it was rocking.
I bet.
You know what I'm saying? It was rocking, and we was playing, and like it was loud. It was like a real NBA game in
Yeah.
there. So that was pretty dope in itself. So yeah, you need team chemistry. You need attitude, the right
Okay.
type of attitude. Um, you need respect. You need accountability. You
Mm.
need talent.
That's great. That's a great.
So go out your whole career. I see you kind of did that back and forth between that G League and then kind of overseas. What kind
Mhm.
of toll did that take, not only on you but also on your family? You being overseas.
Yeah, that's a loaded question, man. Dang, I wasn't ready for that one. Um, ooh, to be honest, I still to this day deal with the effects of it.
Mm.
To be honest, um, hmm, man. Um, so my daughter was young during that time. I was gone 9 months at a time, 10 months at a time.
Mm.
So imagine I played pro ball 14 years, 13 years.
Ish.
So imagine missing father-daughter dances, holidays, birth. My daughter was born in the summer, so that if my daughter was born anytime in the fall,
Yeah.
winter, spring, I'd have missed her birthday.
Yeah.
Dance recitals, uh, talent shows,
For sure.
like And like also as well, being overseas it has its pros and its cons. Like everybody looks at you overseas, you're playing ball, you're getting paid, you see how the fans go crazy, which is very true. Um, but the mental health side of it is tough too, because like I said, I missed everything. If my daughter had anything going on through the school year, I missed it.
Mm. Right.
Right? I missed it. So I did that from the time she was 2 to 14, 15 years old. So nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like even though I was able to provide and what she needed and all the other stuff, like
Sure.
time, you can't make that up, right?
That's real.
You can't make up time.
That's real.
And the mental battles that you got to go through to perform,
Mm.
but knowing this is going on,
Mm.
right? It's different. It's different if you're in the NBA, you're gone because your team is in Orlando, but you're playing on a West Coast trip, so you're gone for 6, 7 days because you got to play Arizona, and then you got to play the Clippers, and then you got to play the Lakers, and then you got to play Portland, and you got to play Utah, and then you got to play Denver, and then you finally come home, right? It's different when you get on that plane and you're gone for that, right? So even thank God for FaceTime and stuff like that, Skype and all that stuff like that saved me as an aspect of us being able to talk and see each other. But it's still not the same when you're 7 hours ahead and she gets out of school and it's midnight your time. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah.
Or on the weekends when she goes visit family and you're not there. Or holidays, my daughter's with my parents, but I'm out the country. So on Christmas, I'm calling through a phone and we FaceTiming, but really her attention's at my gifts. You know what I'm saying?
For
Or
sure.
when they do holiday photos and you're not there, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
So even with your family supporting and stepping in, it's still not the same,
Mm.
right? And so as much as you tell yourself, "Oh, I'm doing this to provide for my family," it's a catch-22 because you still be able to provide for your family, but nothing is going to replace time.
Yeah. That's real.
And
Yeah.
yeah, nothing's going to replace time. So even if
Real.
you try to make up time, you'll still be behind,
Mm.
right? And so the mental capacity, like I remember I was watching 7 p.m. in Brooklyn and Carmelo was talking about like every athlete should do therapy,
Mm.
right? And I understood it because now I'm done playing ball, but I didn't understand it while I was playing it because you're so on the go. Like to play 13 years, I had to be a step ahead,
Yeah.
right? I had to constantly be elevating, constantly growing. Like, because the minute you think that you reached a point is when you start to decline, right? So even when I came home during the summer, I was still moving around. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I just had my daughter with me. Oh, we're going to South Carolina to visit grandma and this, and that. Oh, we're going to Florida to visit grandpa. Da, da, da. Okay, we're going here because that like we're still moving around, right?
Right.
So even though my daughter's with me, she's not with me.
Mm.
It's on it's on a time limit, right?
Yeah.
I have my daughter for 3 summers, but she knows, okay, when daddy drops me off, I probably won't see him for another few months, right?
Right.
So even with that, it's like you come home, you haven't seen your family in 9, 10 months. So you're trying to spend time with family, but then you're trying to be a father. And people will say, well, just work out and spend a day with your daughter, which I did. But it still doesn't make up for the time missed. Because every time I see my daughter, she was different. She was either
Right.
taller, she was older, she's smarter, she's wiser. So every time I see her,
Mm.
I'm seeing a more elevated, different version of her. And
Mm.
even though I could talk to her through FaceTime or whatever the case may be when I'm gone, it's not the same as watching it go. Right.
True.
So even with that, like I didn't realize I was dealing with things when I was playing till I was done playing.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know what cabin fever was until about 6 months ago,
Mm.
as far as the effects of it. I didn't realize I was dealing with cabin fever when I was gone. I just thought I was dealing with being away from home, missing family, missing my daughter, missing, um, just being in the environment, missing out on stuff like family, my siblings getting together, and oh yeah, we finna go do this. Ramon, wish you was here, but it's just like, dang man, I wish I was there. You just think that, but when I was done playing and I assessed everything and processed everything, I was like, dang, I was really going through it, right?
So
Like
would you?
not knowing.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
I'm saying like not knowing what it is that you're going through because you're so focused on getting through it.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that's why I was gonna I actually had that. Actually, it's funny you answered it because that was gonna be one of my questions too. Like, as you go through the process, the pro journey, as you went
Mhm.
through, or just the basketball journey, like, do you even have time to like comprehend your emotions, like how you feeling, like how you're like, or is it just I gotta get ready for the next game, I gotta get ready for next practice, like my job's on the line. So is that pretty much the? Like, do you have time to feel? You know what I mean? Like,
Mm, yes and no. You
yes
do,
or
but
no?
you don't. You do,
Okay.
but you don't.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I was playing in Greece, and I had a really good game. Right, I had a really good game um, against a EuroLeague team, and EuroLeague is like the NBA of Europe, right?
Sure.
So we're playing a EuroLeague team, and I played really good, right? Like really good. So I had that moment to be like, I just did this against a EuroLeague team. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I know like I can be at this level, right?
For sure.
But then when the game over, you get back to the locker room, you shower, you get ready, you get on the bus, whatever the case may be. Real life is real life now,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Daughter asking me, Dad, when you coming home, how long are you gonna be out there? Even if she's watching the game, it's like you're checking off each day because like you're going through it. You know what I'm saying? So you're trying to process not only am I having fun and I'm enjoying being in another country and X, Y, and Z, but when you got a daughter at home waiting for you, a family and loved ones waiting on you, like you just put yourself in this type of mode to get the job done. Because you really don't have time to assess how you feel because you're trying to process how everybody else feels.
Mm. That's a
Right?
word. Yeah.
So you really don't get that time to focus on you other than I need to get my pre work in, I need to get my massage in or my stretch in, Like whatever it is that you need to get done so that you can perform, that's where you at. But as far as how you feel and what you're going through, no.
Right. That's real. That's real stuff. So I guess all those feelings kind of contributed to like you saying that, pro basketball, like you're done in terms of like you were, I don't want to say like just you saying it's time, like basketball's done.
Yeah.
Like you were done with the grind. Did those
Um,
contributing feelings contribute or
it was a,
what
it
contributed to
was
you?
it was a few things.
Okay.
Um, Part of it was how my last contract went.
Okay.
My last two contracts went. Um, my second to last contract, I didn't get paid at all. That was the first time I dealt with that in 13 years.
Mm.
All right. Um, I might have got paid late, but to not get paid at all was the first time that happened.
Right.
And then my last contract, um, we fired the coach after 5 games, and I knew what they were trying to manipulate, and um, what I didn't like was because I was like the veteran guy and I knew what teams can and can't do.
Right.
They didn't like that I knew, right? Because I was the oldest dude on the team from the American standpoint, and the young guys I have on my team, they were like first or second year pros. So there was things that they didn't know that, but I did,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I knew, okay, if you tell me my payday's on the first, you have to the 14th to pay me, or I could sit out and not get punished,
Mm.
right? Most pros don't know that. It's in your contract a certain amount of time, but most guys don't read their contract.
Mm.
I read every contract before I signed it.
Right.
If it was a 14-page contract, I read every paragraph because there's
Got
a
to.
lot of clauses in those too, right? So I knew before I got on that plane, I knew what my clauses were. I knew what I could or could not do that would affect them taking money out of my paycheck. You know what I'm saying? So like it was like the professional side of it. So they didn't pay us for like 2 months.
Wow.
My last contract, and I was like, man, listen, I got responsibilities at home. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all not gonna keep telling us, oh, we'll pay you in 2 weeks, but like that ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
So long story short, they sent me home, but I was like, yeah, I think that's the best decision. Right. So they paid me the night before I left. That was my first time getting money. I was there for 2 months.
Mm.
And this is how I knew that they were full of it. Because how do you pay me this amount of money the night before I leave, but you haven't paid us at all the whole time we're here? Where did this money come
Right.
from? Right? Where did this money come from? So for me, that's why I knew what type of situation I was in. Because I was like, I'm not leaving. I don't care if you pay for my flight. I'm not leaving till you give me cash. I'm not doing the transactions. Oh, we'll pay you through PayPal, whatever. Because once I get on this plane, you're not going to pay me.
Right.
Right? Because now what I'm gonna do? Fly back to Venezuela to come get you for my money? No. Once I get on
Yeah.
that plane, out of sight, out of mind. Um. So I was in the airport and I was just thinking about everything. Um. And I was just like, do I want to be gone for 9 months?
Mm.
Like, do I want to do that again? And my daughter, I had just in high school basketball, her freshman year of high school, and I was like, do I want to be gone for 9 months? Do I want to be in another country? Like I miss basketball. Some days I miss it, some days I don't.
Mm.
Um, as far as like being overseas standpoint. But now, like when I think about it, like I don't want to be gone 9 months. Like I don't want to be gone a large amount of time anymore. Like my daughter's 15 now. Um, I have other people that I love and cherish.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And my presence being in another country just doesn't suit me right now.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I have my daughter and I have other people that I love and cherish.
Right.
And one thing, it's so crazy. I was talking to one of my homeboys. He just retired as well.
Mm.
When we were talking about retirement, whatever. And I said, bro, don't it feel good that you can plan 2 weeks in advance?
Wow.
Like this ability, like right now, we talking this Sunday, and then be like, yo, October 15th, bro, we finna go do this. You wanna come?
Mm.
Because I used to be like, man, I don't even know if I'm gonna be here.
Wow.
That was always my answer. If I'm here, I'll go. Right?
Yeah.
Or like somebody's birthday is in the August, right? Let's say your girlfriend, your daughter, or your child, or
Yeah.
mother, somebody's birthday is in the end of August, and I usually leave mid-August. I usually leave around August 15th. Oh,
Wow.
well, hey, we're trying to plan this, and then you got to be like, if I'm here, I would love to be a part of it,
Mm.
but I don't know if I'm gonna be here, right? So constantly
Wow.
saying that time and time, you can't even plan. Like, only thing I can plan is when I get home, I'm gonna pick up my daughter this day. We might be in South Carolina visit family this day. We might be in Florida visit family this day, and then I got to
Mm.
drop my daughter off by this day because I leave this day.
Mm.
Right? That was how my summers were planned.
Right.
So it got to the point where like, now I'm like, okay, do I want to keep doing that? Right?
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, like I said, my daughter's 15 and she's really into basketball.
Great.
And I'm like, she, she needs my support. Like she needs to see me there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And now, like, I still play ball, I still work out, I still all that. I just don't want to get on a plane and be gone for 9 months.
Yeah.
Like, there's days I do, right? Like when I hoop and I'm playing, I'm like, hey man, I still got it. Like I could,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
man, I could still hoop.
Yeah.
Like not even like, oh, I barely got through. Like, man, I'm killing. Like, dang, like.
Right.
But then when I think about like getting on the plane, being on the plane, traveling for a day or so, being gone for 9 months, like the only
Yeah.
thing that would get me through is like, okay,
Right.
financially, it's helping the family, but then no matter how much money I make, I can't make up that time.
Mm.
So yeah, that's what. So I just like, this might be it. And I called my mom and I told her, I said, Mom, this might be it. She's like, Nah,
Yeah.
you just frustrated, da da da. And I said, Nah, Mom, I think this is it. And so she
Okay.
got quiet for a minute and she was like, Is this what you want?
Mm.
I said, I don't know. I said, but I know how I feel. And then she was like, Well, you had a good career. Like that, and it's crazy how you think about the beginning at the
Mm.
end.
Oof. Yeah.
And that's so true. It's when you're at the end that you think about the beginning.
Mm. Made it.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's when, because like your question, I didn't even like really take in some of the things that I'd done in my career because it was always like I gotta. Blah, blah, blah. So then like when I talk to family and friends, they'd be like, "Bro, you remember when you?" I'd be like, "Dang, I forgot I did."
Yeah.
right? Because you celebrate in that moment, then it's on to the next thing because that don't carry on. If I score 20 points tonight, that don't mean I'm gonna score 20 tomorrow. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like it don't carry over. So yeah,
Right.
so that was crazy. So now like I have days where I'm like I reminisce on moments or games or you know what I'm saying, experiences. Like the one thing that I miss about playing pro ball is every country that I went to, I found a local restaurant that I
Mm.
supported weekly.
Wow. That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? I got to know that's why everywhere I went, I was a fan favorite because I was where the fans was. I was out. Like I didn't go out a lot, but like restaurants, stuff like that, like the local restaurants and stuff like that, I went to.
Yeah.
You know, and I was eating there weekly. My last year in Greece, there's this guy, he owned the restaurant like 2 blocks away from it. And I stopped by one day after a practice and he had a bunch of stuff on the menu, but I just got pizza, trying to be safe.
Mm.
He was like, yeah, right? Because my first time eating there, I didn't want to order something not like it. I was hungry. I
Yeah.
just got out of practice. I just wanted to eat, shower, lay down, right?
Yeah.
So I ordered a pizza. And I talked to him for a little minute. He started the conversation more than I did, but we talked for a little minute. And then it came. Then after a while, it became after every home game, I was going to his restaurant, right?
Mm.
Win or lose, I'm at his restaurant, right? And one day I came in, his dad and his grandfather was
Mm.
there, and they where he's from a farm, and they make wine off of his farm.
Okay.
He gave me a whole bottle of wine and was like, he was like, Ramon, they call me Hadis, here, take. And I'm like, what's this? He's like, wine, my grandfather's farm. And I sat down with him for 3 hours. Me, him, his father, and his grandfather. We sat down for 3 hours, ate and drank wine.
Wow.
And so like those type of things is what I miss. Because
Love that.
I'll probably never talk to him again.
Mm.
Right. I'll probably never see him again. Right.
Yeah.
But those type of situations
Yeah.
is what I miss the most.
Wow. It's a connection made with somebody in a whole nother country.
Yeah, because now I'm learning your culture, right?
Yeah.
I'm learning your culture. I'm learning how you do things. I'm learning outside of what I've known my whole life.
Right.
And then you realize like how small minded we can be.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
when you go to a different country, right? You go to a different country, what we press about in America, they don't stress about.
Mm.
We stress about Wi-Fi and internet and service and da da da. They got Wi-Fi and all that, but they're not as pressed about it as we are.
Yeah.
They got Wi-Fi in the house, but they're not tripping about having Wi-Fi when they walk out the house.
Yeah.
They're not worried about it, right? Or they, you know what I'm saying? Like just learning other cultures. What I learned is it's about personal connection
Mm.
than technology connection.
Wow.
That's why when you go to Europe, you see a lot of people meeting up to have coffee, having tea, to have food, because it's about seeing the person,
Right.
family, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. It's more about the time
Mm.
than the electronic time.
And the electronic time.
Yeah.
That's great. That's good. That's a good way. I seen you talked about your daughter. You said she's 15. Like, do you see? I mean, it seems like you talked about your dad and your mom. Play college level. Now I know it's early and stuff, so we don't want to like put that pressure. But do you
Yeah.
see glimpses of like anybody in like glimpses of your game or your mom or dad's game in her, or are you instilling that in her in any type of way?
Yeah. So thing is my daughter didn't start playing basketball till 3 years ago.
Oh wow. Okay.
Might be 4 years now. She started in middle school. So she started 7th grade, like her first time playing basketball for real.
Mm.
Wasn't that good, but she's always been athletic and she's always been fast and quick for her size. But basketball skill level, no. So she played her 7th grade year, and then she was like, "Dad, I really want to play."
Mm.
I never forced her to play basketball. I never was like, "You gonna play basketball?" I was like, "You gonna play something, but it doesn't have to be basketball."
Yeah.
She played soccer, she did swimming, she did ballet, like she did everything else but basketball.
Mm.
So she gets to middle school, she plays her 7th grade year. So she comes to me and goes, "Dad, I really want to play."
Mm.
I said, "Okay." So I worked with her after her 7th grade year. And after her 7th grade year, I mean from her 7th grade year to her 8th grade year, she made such a huge jump that as an 8th grader, she played high school JV.
Wow.
So I'm like, Aubrey, do you understand? You just played basketball 2 years. All right. So like I'm trying to explain things to her, but to her, like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, Bree, do you remember like you barely played as a 7th grader? You barely played as a 7th grader.
Yeah.
And now you're starting as an 8th grader, and also as an 8th grader, you're playing high school JV. But you just picked up a basketball 2 years ago,
Sheesh.
right? So then she like, okay, like, like it's still not like,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, all right, like I just gotta let you learn your own. So then as a 9th grader, she played high school JV and varsity, but mainly JV. But she
Mm.
was the leading scorer and the leading rebounder as a 9th grader.
Wow.
So I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
Aubrey, you're the leading scorer and the leading rebounder as a 9th grader, and you're playing with some sophomores and juniors. Like,
Mm.
she
Okay.
like, okay, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'd be like, she's like, Dad, I know. I'd be like, all right. You know what I'm saying? Because like she's seen me play my whole professional career, but I'm
Yeah.
dad. Like it ain't.
Right. Right.
Oh, Bree, I'd be like, because I'd be like, Bree, I just did this and that. She's like, yeah, Dad, I saw. I'd be like, but then she'd be like, yeah, Dad, but you could have did this better. You could have did that better. Oh, you missed a rebound here, da da da. But I'd be like, Bree, I just hit 8 threes. She'd be like, yeah, Dad, I saw.
Right.
But you missed that rebound. You missed that steal. You went for the steal when you should have played straight up defense. Like that's how she is with me.
Yep.
So, so now, this
Oh
summer
man.
was her first summer of really playing AAU ball.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Um, so I had her on the team here in Tampa. Um, and like I said, she was 14 at the time and she was playing 17U,
Mm.
16, 17U.
Wow.
So like even in that, I'm like, Bree, and this is where experience and playing a lot comes in too. I'm like, Bree, you're just as big as these girls and you're only 14. Now you're
Wow.
15 because the summer's been summer. I'm like, but you're only 15 and you're
Wow.
playing 17U.
Mm.
Like these girls are juniors and seniors. Like these girls
Yeah.
are older.
Yeah.
And so now like her skill level keeps improving.
Mm.
Now it's just getting her to see it like how good she can be,
Mm.
right? Like, cause now she's looking like, okay, I'm a sophomore. Like she moved to South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
and even at the new school, she's a sophomore playing varsity. She's on varsity now.
Wow.
So like for her, I'm like telling her like, listen, you still got 3 years of high school basketball left.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's in your favor.
Yeah.
Because when I was like, but you gotta be consistent with your workouts. You gotta be consistent with your trainings. Like you gotta be consistent with your skill work. Like now it's teaching her a routine.
For sure.
Because now as a sophomore, if you come in, you make 100 shots as a sophomore. Then as a junior, you make 200. As a senior, you make 300. Like the development will grow.
Right.
So now I'm just trying to teach her work ethic now and what to work on.
Mm.
But
Oh, that's great.
yeah, I think she can be really good. Like I said, she's 15 and she's almost 6 foot.
Wow. Jeez.
She-
Okay.
yeah, yeah, she's
All right.
almost 6 foot. She's like 5'11" right now,
Wow.
and she can really shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Like in high school, I was all getting to the rim, trying to
Right.
dunk everything. Every once in a while, I hit a jump shot or a fade away, but mainly I'm trying to get to the rim. I'm trying to dunk everything.
Right.
Her is like I'm trying to teach her like Aubrey, you're already super athletic. You play defense, you rebound. I just gotta get you to shoot the ball more because she shoots. Like one game, we were in a tournament in Atlanta. She hit 5 threes. I
Five
was like,
threes.
Bree, yeah. I was like, you just realize you hit 5 threes and you're 15 playing 17 and you just hit 5 threes. Yeah, Dad, I hit 5 threes, but I'm like, you don't understand the magnitude. Like
Yeah.
you're playing at the highest level doing it. So I'm
Mm.
trying to get her to see that her work ethic allowed her to do that, and the man above, of course. But
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like you're not just gonna walk in the gym and hit 5 threes every time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's the work ethic and trying to get her to see the big picture. But at the same time, my mom probably tell you the same thing about me.
Mm. Wow.
When I was 15, Ramon, you realize you just did that? And I was like, yeah, mom, I did that. But like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't until I was older, like, dang, I did that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So hopefully I can get that light bulb to go off sooner than later because
For sure.
I want her to understand that she can be like everybody, like her coach, her new high school coach was like, man, she could be really good. Everybody, when they see her play, they're like, man, she could be really good.
Mm.
I just don't want her to believe because people said she's going to be really good that she is.
That'd be good. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
That's real.
I don't want her to think like, well, everybody said I'm gonna be good. Yeah, but if you don't work, you ain't gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
your work ethic is gonna tell you if you're gonna be good and not what people say.
That's real. That's a fact. It's a fact. Yeah. Want to go to the rapid?
Rapid question. All
Uh-oh.
right. Yep. So now as we come here towards the end, we got a few rapid questions real quick
All
to
right.
give you. You want to go first with yours?
Okay. Just your best. What was your best game in terms of just best game you played in or your favorite game you played in? Just off of remember, like your best stat line, I would say. I know you mentioned 51 points, so that sounds pretty crazy. But
Yeah.
it's best stat.
Either the 51-point game, okay, in college, playing against Creighton, I had 9 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists.
Oh, stuff the stat sheet.
Uh, and that was before triple doubles was even a thing.
Oh,
Mm.
hmm.
Um, yeah, in college, I had 9 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. That game's crazy to me because I didn't even realize my stat line
Mm-hmm.
until my teammates told me.
Mm.
Because they coach subbed me out. It was like late in the second half. And they said, Ramon, boy, you realize what you almost just did? I'm like, what you talking? I'm thinking I did something wrong, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
what you talking about? They're like, bro, you almost had a triple double. I was like, a triple double? I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, bro, look. So I looked. I said, dang, 9 points,
Yeah.
9 rebounds, 9 assists. I said, when did I get 9 assists? They were like, bro, you don't even. They were like, you don't even realize what you was doing. That game was crazy.
Oh man.
The G League finals, the second year we went to the finals, I hit
Hmm.
eight threes.
Yeah, that's
I hit
wild.
8 threes that game. That was crazy for me because I always wanted like one of those moments.
A game
Like,
like that. Sorry to cut you off. Like, what do you eat something before the game? Like, do you have a do you have a certain type of shoot around? Do you read a certain
yeah.
book? Like, what it
um,
or is it just I don't know? You're feeling it, and like, what is?
it's just a vibe you feel. It was so crazy because I remember I forgot what Future song it was, but it was on my playlist, and I walked on the court pregame, and I got a routine that I do
Uh huh.
to just work on my follow through.
Yeah.
and I was doing it. And it's crazy. I got a picture of it, of me doing my
Oh, that's
routine.
great.
And I just remember the song came on and it was just vibing. Like I was like it just hit different, right?
Yeah.
So I just put that song on repeat.
Okay.
And I
All
just
right.
remember for the game, I hit my first one.
Okay.
Then I hit my second one. And then I hit my third one. I was like, dang. I
Hey.
was like, okay, cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, dang,
Yeah.
okay, all right, bet. So
Yeah.
then, like as the game go on, I missed a couple of them. So, but then like the game getting close. So now
Right.
I'm shooting and I'm hitting, bow, 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 bow. Like, and I knew it was crazy because when I hit like 6, 7, and 8, the crowd went crazy,
Right.
right? So I was like, dang. So in my mind, and that's what tripped me out too. I was thinking, how many did I make? I didn't know I hit 8 till after the game.
Wow.
Mhm.
But so in my mind, I'm like, dang, I know I hit like 6 or 7 threes. So now I'm
Yeah.
wondering how many I hit, rather than just saying like keep hitting. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
Okay.
I finished 8. I finished 8 or 12 from the 3-point line that game.
Hmm.
And then in China, I had 51.
That's a
That
great.
game was crazy.
It's a great game.
A good one.
Yeah.
Next one we have is, who do you feel was the hardest player that you had to guard?
Wow.
Ooh. Man, there's a dude. He just retired in Greece. He's Greek.
Mm.
I hope I'm saying his name right. I think his thing is Princesses,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. He's the hardest player I ever had to guard because whatever he can do with his right, he can do with his left.
Sheesh.
Mhm.
Mm.
And
It's
when I
tough.
say his footwork was good, but any shot he takes with his right, he can take with his left.
Mm.
Yeah, I think he just retired. He played for Olympiacos, um, a
Mm. Okay.
EuroLeague team in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
He was the hardest player to guard because most times when I guard people, I can figure out what you don't want to do,
All right.
Mhm.
or I can take like the main thing you want to do, I can take it away or make it hard for you. With him, it was so hard to guard him because if I took away his right, he was just as good with his left.
Right.
So I could. It was hard to take something away because it was like, okay, if I force him left, he's just as comfortable shooting a shot with his left as he is with his right.
Mm.
And that's what made it hard to guard him. And he had footwork and he was smart. You know what I'm saying? Like he was really good. But I was like, dang. Like he really had me like, yo, how do I guard him?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that would be the first dude that come to mind.
All right. So my next one would be most impactful. They don't gotta be. We don't gotta say favorite, but just a teammate that teammate that resonated with you the most. Like most impactful teammate could be just helped you be a pro, or just you just like being like just most impactful teammate on your basketball journey, or just your life journey.
Full teammate.
Yeah.
Um, Professionally, would be have to be a guy by the name of Ron Howard. He was my
Oh,
teammate in Fort. He was my teammate in Fort Wayne. When I came into the G League, he had already been in the G League multiple years,
mm-hmm.
and he averaged 20 his whole career.
Mm.
Like
Wow.
when we was the worst team in the league, he averaged 20. We was the best team in the league. He averaged 20.
Wow.
He wasn't the quickest, he wasn't the fastest, wasn't the strongest, but he was the smartest.
Mm.
And even just like watching him, like he went to every year he was in somebody's training camp, but he would just get cut.
Right.
Like, but every year he was in somebody's training camp, right? And so even with that, he ended up being the all-time leading scorer in G League history. But
Mm.
just like watching him, like just watching how he worked, and even off the court, like he was never too big to talk to anybody. You know what I'm saying? He real chill, pointing out stuff, helping stuff. Like so, Ron would probably be that would probably be my answer, Ron Howard.
All right. Ron Howard. All right. Yeah.
So
Well.
Who is your current favorite player to watch?
Current?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay,
Uh,
we could do who's your
current.
GOAT and then who's your current favorite player.
Yep.
Like who's your favorite, or if you're
Carmelo Anthony's my GOAT.
Carmelo.
Mm.
Tough.
Carmelo Anthony's my GOAT.
I see that
Besides
actually.
besides Mike, of course.
Mm.
Mike is like in the category zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you want to talk about somebody that I watched and transition my game to, would be
Yeah, I can see
Melo.
that.
Melo is like, especially when I started playing pro ball, I was transitioning more into a stretch four.
Mm.
Mm.
So watching Melo helped me get an idea of what a stretch four was per se. Because it was when
Right.
I came out in 2010, it was just transitioning like out of a traditional power forward.
Mm-hmm.
So watching Melo in the Olympics and watching him play in Denver and New York, like the way he played, I feel like I played similar to that. So
Sure.
when I played overseas as a stretch four and shooting a lot of threes in mid post areas, I watched Melo. Melo is my GOAT. Right now,
If
if I
anyone.
got Paulo Banchero.
Oh,
Ooh,
he's a Magic fan too. That's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, I got
I
a
didn't realize
Paulo
that.
Banchero. If I gotta watch somebody, it's Paulo Banchero right now.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay.
Love it. Love to hear it.
So I guess we'll just kind of wrap it up. I know you got your degree in youth development. I know we work together at the Skills Center, which is like a youth organization. But like, what have you like? How was the just? I know you used to like just talk about just being able to actually working your degree after playing basketball and just how that's been for
Um,
you.
it's actually been better than what I could hope for.
Mm,
Like working at the skill center has been what I would want before I knew it was the skill center,
mm,
right? Because I'm not from Tampa. My daughter doesn't go to school here. So as far as knowing what's going on in the community per se, like
right.
you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know what the skill center was until I got connected with somebody that knew Celeste and got me in touch with Chris Ward and you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like before that, I didn't know what the skill center was, right?
Right.
But once I got connected and then I recognized what the skill center was, I was like, this is what I've been wanting, right?
For sure.
So now that we're in the new building and I'm getting to operate, my gift um, outside of playing basketball is connecting with people, connecting with kids, right? Like that's my gift. Like some
Yeah.
people have gifts to they can create resources out of like thin air. Like they just know how to connect with people, X, Y, and Z, or get whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like
Sure.
my thing is connecting with people face to face, connecting with kids. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my gift. That's what I bring to the skill center. Um,
Right.
so for the position that I'm in, I really enjoy it because I get to interact with people and kids, but I'm also learning on the other side of things, right?
Sure.
Learning, um, learning like this is my first ever desk job. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, for sure.
this is my first ever like desk job. So learning, paperwork and documenting and all
Yeah.
that stuff is like new to me, but interacting with the kids and the parents and giving the tours and giving information and also uh and like a better word selling TSC
Right.
to people who ask what is TSC, like selling it to them like I can,
For sure.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm doing what I believe I'm good at, but I'm also working on the things as well as like on the paperwork side, like learning documentation and all that.
Oh, that's great. It's great. Got
Nice.
anything?
No,
Well, we
I'm good.
appreciate it, man.
Yeah, for sure.
If if you don't learn anything from this interview, clean the wax out your ears. This man has given you the keys to your whole life. Yo, it's great. Just I know it's I know it's a little long-winded, but if you just
Listen,
listen to the keys, we'll try to like cut it up, do the like the time marks and the summaries and stuff, but just listen to what this man has to say. I'm set for the next 100 years. Uh, I appreciate just you just not only coming on, but just being willing to share your experience. Because I mean, it could be like a little like interesting just sharing your experience, but the fact that, like you said, you want to connect with people, and then you want, I mean, that's what life's about, learning from being able to share your experiences so somebody don't make the same mistake you did, and
right.
you did more than that.
Yes.
I say that, so I definitely appreciate you just coming on and
No
sharing.
Yeah.
problem. Thank you.
Likewise, I really appreciate you coming on. The amount of wisdom you just shared on this podcast has been very, very impressive. And, there's a lot of things I could take away from this.
People are set for life. That's all I'm saying.
Man, I appreciate you, fellas. You know what I'm saying? Like, the main thing is that we blessed to be a blessing. So,
Ah, it's a
um,
fact.
we blessed to be a blessing. So if I can, if I can use my life story to help somebody or make them think a little longer, a little harder, whatever it may be, what I'm saying? That's the whole point of it. You know what I'm saying? That's why it says it takes a village, you know? So I have people that help me, and it'll be selfish of me to not try to help anybody else. So, yeah.
Mic drop. This has been this has been another episode of the ONJ podcast. I'm your co-host Jeremiah.
Your co-host Orlando.
This is Ramon Harris. Great man. And we out.
We're out.